Welcome, everybody. Hopefully this is working. I think it is. There are some pastors who claim that they are being briefed by the government about UFOs. So I want to watch one of these pastors and what he had to say here. Let's see. I think it gets crazy right at the start.
Program do not know what I'm talking about, but we've not hit it. We've talked about it, and I'll tell you what's going.
Okay, let's okay, we have to watch his intro here. This pastor here claims to have been briefed by the government on UFOs. He claims the government told them in a private briefing, Congress told them in a private briefing that aliens visited Earth and they told us that they created us. Do I believe it? No, I don't at all. I think there's a lot of wishful thinking and a lot of exaggeration going on because they want to be important. They want to believe that they have a special role to play and all this other stuff. Anyway, let's listen to what this pastor has to say here. Ragland, I think, is his name. With his wife, I believe. Completely stone-faced.
Something else that I have not said publicly. We're also going to cover disclosure tonight because the rollout of disclosure has begun. This is a channel that's been talking about it for years, and it's here. And we're going to break it down tonight. It is the Big Picture Live. Let's go.
So I was going to skip the intro. I usually do, but I saw for a split second it looked absolutely insane.
In the name of Jesus, you with me?
It is so stupid.
Let's go.
You're watching.
What the? So he runs out and sees a pyramid UFO. They're pyramids now. That does not seem aerodynamic to me, but okay.
The Big Picture.
All right, welcome to the Big Picture.
Let me turn it up. It's pretty quiet.
And I'll tell you, it's going to be exciting tonight. And we got a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to go right into it. I'm working in the Queen right now. Here she comes. Here she comes. There she is, baby. There she is.
Wait, do I have that same sound? I do. He has a Rodecaster Pro 2.
Welcome in. Welcome in.
That intro still gets me every time.
Every time.
Every time.
You know, we got some people don't like it. They comment. And
I'm
like,
sure.
you know, that's just not legit.
Bro, I loved that intro. That was fantastic. It was so stupid. It destroys your reputation even more, which is good in my eyes.
I think it's legit. It's legit because that's what we're about, man. We tell that devil you're a liar. We ain't playing.
Would you say too legit to quit?
It's good to be back, though.
All right, Sandy. So, yeah, it's been a week. It has been a week, and you know, there's probably very few, if any, watching this program do not know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're about preaching the gospel and getting around the world. We did not have it on our bingo card that this is how we would get around the world, but we're going to address that. We're going.
You didn't have it on your bingo card to be an actual part.
No.
To have a place in history. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to take too much liberty.
Yeah.
But be an actual part of disclosure in
crazy.
a sense.
All right, Sandy. So let's back up.
So these people are claiming that UFO disclosures are happening in June or July of 2026. That they're going to reveal that aliens have visited us and that they told us that they are our creators and all of that stuff. I will eat my left shoe if it turns out that that's really true and the government was briefing not SETI, not like the search for extraterrestrial life, but these pastors. Like they're not even. It's not even like Paula White, like the famous pastors, or Kenneth Copeland. It's not the powerful ones who actually control like the narrative flow and everything else, which was the point of briefing them in the first place, according to them. It was some unknown, random 5 people or something that have like TikTok pages or something like that. They didn't bring Paula White into this, really? The spiritual advisor to the president?
We won't give the specific logistics of where we were, but we've not hid it. We've talked about being in this meeting. We have covered it many times on this program.
And let me just add, that's the thing. This is not new news.
No,
okay?
it's not.
Everyone not everyone, a lot of people that were in that meeting have been talking about it for weeks.
Yeah.
You think maybe that's why they picked those pastors to be in that meeting in the first place, because they're conspiracy theorists?
Definitely, Joe.
It is connected to Congress, by the way. There's a congressman who actually handles like the the oversight something or other, the classified information, and he is running this. He helped run this briefing of pastors. So this is definitely government sponsored, and the meeting definitely happened.
Joseph Z, definitely Tony, definitely Alan DiDio.
Joseph Z is pretty influential. He's pretty big, actually.
Definitely us. I can't speak to the others. I can't really remember who some of the others are. Was the gentleman Ben Hughes?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not getting to know him.
I'm unclear, and I don't. If he was, I don't know if he said anything about it. So
I think he was at the second one.
This wasn't breaking news this week. Hey, everybody, we went to a meeting. No, that's been out there.
We have literally talked about it forever.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to cover Dr. Greer's conference that he just had, some things that he said.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about what really came out the first day of this disclosure day, which we don't believe it's that. We believe it's the rollout of files. In my opinion, disclosure day does not begin until Donald Trump says we're not alone.
This was a document dump, is what I'm calling it.
Big document dumps, big dumps in the middle of the night, right?
But before we get into all that, I think a lot of people have been waiting for us to address this, and I think we do need to address it. Now, I'm going to comment back and forth, but I think we're going to systematically go down about what we know, what we were a part of. We're not going to go into conjecture about whatever everybody else was a part of.
I bet. You're not going to get into conjecture. Totally just going to keep it to the facts and tell us only what you know for sure, right? No guessing, no conspiracy theories, only factual information in this video you're about to make about aliens visiting us and telling us they're our creator. Okay, go on.
We're going to tell you exactly what happened to us, what we were a part of. So, Sandy, take it away.
All right, so I want to start out before I go into what I'm trying to do, a chronological, breakdown.
Chronological, okay, go on.
Of events, just to say there are a lot of things going on out there.
Yeah.
A lot of people are being called liars.
Right.
I've heard the word psyop used. I understand that. There's a lot of confusion. And when you are sitting watching and trying to consume this and trying to put all of this in nice little files and boxes and in order, it is easy to say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't line up. So we're going to give you our personal experience and let you be the judge.
Absolutely.
All right, so here we go. As you know, we're friends with Tony Merkel, have been for, 2 years now, quite a while. But anyway, in early February of this year, Tony Merkel from the confessionals contacted us about attending a meeting to be led by some people.
Don't know who Tony Merkel is.
That are Christians, that are former military, and they have relationship with other people.
Yep.
We did not meet these people, nor do we exactly know who they are. But those people had read our presenters into information or intelligence that is beyond what's known. I mean, we feel like we're informed at least a little.
Yes.
Okay.
On this show, we feel like you guys who are watching, you're informed, and people that watch other shows like this, they're informed to some extent.
Something, and you did not specifically say it, but this is what you were saying, and I want to make sure everybody understands.
Okay.
We are not saying that these people were from the government.
No.
We are saying that.
Well, they were from the government. I mean, it was hosted by random nutcases, but a government, an actual congressman, called into the meeting. So it was absolutely run by the government, at least in part. The government was involved in this meeting.
But we are saying that at least what was told to us is that these people were connected to currently or formerly to people in the government at high levels.
Right. Okay. The invitation came with a preface of helping pastors. The reason for this meeting.
A preface. You mean that was the premise? Not the preface, but the premise? Is that what you meant?
To help pastors to prepare to address their congregations so that they are not confused or deceived whenever disclosure comes, because
Okay,
they
wait,
believe
let her-
disclosure
let her
will
see
be
if she
happening
can.
soon.
I'm curious to see if that worked. I think it did. I hope she hasn't hurt her paw. All right, go ahead and... I'm sorry, hang on one second. I'm gonna let her out, and Come on. I'm gonna go get some coffee real fast, so I'm gonna put a marker in here. Take me like 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Maybe this year. They firmly believe
That's
this.
what they said, yes.
And so that was the urgency for
Yep.
bringing people together
Yes.
to have this meeting. And I'm going to call it a briefing at times. Okay, what is disclosure? A disclosure is that we are not alone in a sense. If you watched Day of Disclosure, the documentary, you saw it open with, I think, 30 some people saying the words, we're not alone.
Yeah.
So you understand where we're going with that. That there are NHI, non-human intelligence, that there are craft and etc. That disclosure would probably happen this year and probably come from the president. This is the information that was given to us from our presenters at our briefing. What just happened this past Friday?
Can I interject one thing there? So at the meeting too, they said, this is incredible to us. They said originally President Trump was going to release the documents and begin the process in July. Remember, this meeting we were in was in February.
Yes.
But then they said, but something is coming or something happened. I can't remember which one of it was, either coming or happened, that caused it. What we're hearing is what the guy said to us is coming in May.
Right.
And lo and behold,
and
we are, and it happened in May.
We did hear that, but the information was kind of like a fire hose that day.
Yeah.
And even with all the copious note taking and trying to process and remember everything you were hearing, there's no way in this world that we could contain everything. So anyway, as I said, what happened this past Friday was not disclosure, not in my opinion. No. You may feel...
Not in my opinion. She sounds like Candace Taylor. All right, let's jump back.
Maybe this year. They firmly believe this.
That's what they said, yes.
And so that was the...
Actually, let me step back just a little further than that.
Okay. The invitation came with a preface of helping pastors. The reason for this meeting, to help pastors to prepare to address their congregations so that they are not confused or deceived whenever disclosure comes, because they believe disclosure will be happening soon, maybe this year. They firmly believe this.
They actually said by July specifically, and I would be willing to bet these people are going to narrow it down even further to July.
Said, yes.
And so that was the urgency for bringing people together to have this meeting. And I'm going to call it a briefing at times. Okay, what is disclosure? Disclosure is that we are not alone in a sense. If you watched...
In a sense. These people don't believe it's aliens, so they think it's demons who are trying to trick humans.
Day of Disclosure, the documentary, you saw it open with, I think, 30 some people saying the words, we're not alone.
Not alone.
So you understand where we're going with that. That there are NHI, non-human intelligence, that there are craft and etc. That disclosure would probably happen this year and probably come from the president. This is the information that was given to us from our presenters at our briefing. What just happened this past Friday?
Can I interject one thing there? So at the meeting too, they said, this is incredible to us. They said originally President Trump was going to release the documents and begin the process in July. Remember, this meeting we were in was in February.
Yes.
And but then they said, but something is coming or something happened. I can't remember which one of it was, either coming or happened, that caused it. What we're hearing is what the guy said to us is coming in May.
Right.
And lo and behold, here we are, and it happened in May.
We did hear.
But no, it didn't happen in May. No, they briefed you again in May. That's not something happening in May. That's very different.
Hear that, but the information was kind of like a fire hose that day.
Yeah.
And even with all
Would you say like the fire hose of falsehoods, maybe?
the copious note taking and trying to process and remember everything you were hearing, there's no way in this world that we could contain everything. So anyway, as I said, what happened this past Friday was not disclosure. Not in my opinion. No. You may feel differently, and that's fine if you do. I'm calling it a document dump, and I think there were, 160 files released?
Yeah.
And we've only begun to go through them. It's, even though I'm not going to call it a nothing burger.
Yeah.
It was a complete nothing burger. There was nothing there in the files that they released in May. It was just a lot of odd stuff, a lot of strange things that could be explained plausibly in other ways. There's famously a video that the government released of a UAP that they shot down, and it was very obviously a weather balloon. Like, you can see it get ripped apart in the air and everything. It breaks exactly like a weather balloon breaks.
I don't know. I don't know what's
it's
in
not a nothing burger, but
it's not a nothing burger.
But Luna and all those have come out as recently as yesterday and said that next week the files that they have asked for are coming out. So if everything happens, it seems like this is the beginning of a snowball.
And like I said, we haven't even begun to even understand what's been released so far.
Right.
All right.
Bro, this is so fascinating. The Christian nationalists have found motivation to get UFO disclosures because they think that they're demons. That is very interesting. I never thought it would be the Christian nationalist community pushing for UFO disclosures. I don't believe that we've ever been visited. I genuinely do not. Do I think they're out there? Yes. Do I think they're intelligent? Maybe. I think gaining intelligence is an extremely uncommon quality or whatever, an extremely uncommon event. Are there aliens? Like, is there life on other planets? Absolutely. I'm very confident. Are we close enough to ever discover life on other planets? Doubt it. You know, I don't think that humanity has any limits, honestly. I think that we'll be able to break any limits if we put our minds to it. So I don't want to say I don't think we'll ever find out or we'll ever be close to them. I think we will at some point. But I don't think that time is now or any time close.
As I said, these men are Christians, and they have a great concern for when they will hear when people will hear the type of news, the disclosure that some, not all, some will begin to believe in all the alien theories that are circulating.
Yep.
The very words that have been spoken on this show many times,
Many
and that
times.
we will talk
And in my church.
and in church, and that we will talk about even more in a few minutes. And last night, I believe you aired a show from March of 2025 talking about this very thing.
Well, it was a sermon at my church.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, you talk about aliens and lo and behold, something related to aliens happened? Knock me over with a feather.
All right, so that's a little setup. Now,
Do you want me
buckle
to play
up.
the clip, or you just want to talk about
Do
it?
you want to hit it real
I'll
quick?
just hit it real quick. I've
Okay.
got it here. This was, I believe, March.
2025.
Was it March 9th? Is that what I told you? March 9th, I think it was.
I don't have the day of the
But
month. I'm
this
sorry.
this is, of course, you've heard about the fire that happened in our church. So this will tell you how long ago. This is in our building that burned.
Right, we were in a
And-
previous building.
Yeah. So this was a sermon that I was preaching about disclosure in March of 2025.
If the hell that we talking about's coming is coming, the gates of hell are about to be unleashed on this world. The veils are about to be pierced, and the spirit realm and the natural realm is going to be hard to determine which is which.
Okay, bro, people have been saying that literally for 2,000 years, longer than that, honestly. You cannot claim that as a W. Pastors have been saying that since I was little. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses saying, oh, it's coming any 5 minutes now. You just wait and see. You cannot claim that as a W.
Demons are about to manifest on levels we've never known. Aliens are about to be told are the truth, and they're here to help us, and that they are our fathers and our mothers, and they birthed us here, and there's no such thing as the Bible. It was written by them. Listen, this is coming.
And look, it goes in depth, and you can go back and watch that show from last night because I
Dude, he looks completely different.
re-aired it
Right.
on Sunday night. But yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time.
That's one example of many different occasions. All right, we're going to try to move through this quickly, and it's so many different things and points that I've had to make notes to try to keep myself on track. All right, number one, yes, there were 2 what have been called pastors' meetings.
Yes.
We have found out that there have probably been others, although we don't really have any details on those, but we feel like maybe more intel will be coming out, not from us, but others soon. We'll have to wait and see on that. Number 2, we weren't necessarily special. We've heard, and many of you have heard and read the question, why were these people chosen?
Right,
What
right.
is so special? There is
Nothing.
Yeah, what's special about you? They really didn't loop in the spiritual advisor to the president. They didn't loop in Paula White or Kenneth Copeland. They grabbed some jagoffs off of some random like YouTube channel. If the government pulls me in to a private UFO briefing, you probably shouldn't trust that they have anything.
nothing so
Nothing.
special
There's nothing special.
about us. We were told that there were multiple other pastors that were invited,
That's right.
but wanted nothing
That's right.
to do
Some
with
of-
the meeting.
Some of them pretty big time.
I
And they
don't-
didn't want, I don't know their
If
names,
they
but that's
shared-
just what
okay.
I was told. That's
I
what I
didn't-
was told.
I was going to say, if they shared the names with you, they didn't share them with me, and
And
I
they-
don't know.
yeah, they
And that's
did.
fine.
That's right.
Everyone can make their own
That's right.
choice. But no, we weren't special.
Wait, so was she, the woman, included in these briefings? I'm surprised. Okay, interesting.
We just received the invitation and we took the invitation.
Yes.
We were at the first meeting with Tony Merkel, Jamie Walden, and at least one other pastor and his wife. Our meeting was
Wait, I'm sorry, who?
Jamie Walden and at least one other
I don't know that person.
pastor and his wife. Our meeting was held at the home of a couple that were kind enough to let us use it for this mostly all-day briefing. This is just a house with a living room large enough to hold us and a yard big enough for all of the cars, for
right.
all of the different people that was there.
And honestly, I couldn't even tell you where it was at right now. If you paid
No.
me $1 million, I forgot all about
I
where
think
it
I
was.
will say that later, but
Why would you forget where it was, and why would you say that? What was the point of saying that? Do you think that somebody's going to try to torture you for the information? Is that what, like, the point of that was? I don't understand.
literally, I do not remember the name of this
No.
town, city, area that we were in.
Okay, who cares?
It was not Nashville, Tennessee.
Nope.
It was about 35 to 40 minutes off the interstate in a rural area. It was very late Friday night when we got into this area because we had been at an event and then we had to leave that like 10 o'clock in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa area and drive
Yeah.
like 3 hours and 45 minutes to this area. It would have been only 3 hours from our home, but we weren't home. We were even farther south. So it was late when we got into the area. I do not remember the name of the city or town, as we just mentioned. That second meeting was held in Nashville, Tennessee at that Airbnb that was rented by Tony Merkel for him and his staff to stay in during.
Okay, I need to know who is Tony Merkel. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can pull this up real fast. Wait a second. All right, let me hold on. Okay, Tony Merkel is the host of The Confessionals, a paranormal podcast he started around 2017, apparently, and built it into Merkel Media, a film podcast company he founded in 2021. The show's interview-based, ordinary people recounting encounters with UFOs, cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, okay, ghosts, Nephilim, interdimensional entities, government cover-ups, wow. Okay. He's a Christian paranormal figure, not government or military. All right, great. So I guess you're using his presence in this meeting as some kind of proof that it was a real meeting. You're not helping your case here.
The NRB, or National Religious Broadcasters Convention. We did not attend.
Wait, I'm sorry. What did she say?
For him and his staff to stay in during the NRB, or National Religious Broadcasters Convention. We did not attend the second meeting with Alan DiDio, Joseph Z., and others that were at the Airbnb.
And full disclosure, I didn't even know it was having a meeting. I was on my way to South Africa. I found out later that they had a meeting. So they knew that because, and I think we would have probably been invited because of our close friendship. But I was headed to South Africa, so I found out later that they even had a meeting.
You left on like the day before their meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so although we dropped you at the airport, and me and our two staff members, we went back home because you flew out of Nashville to start your journey to South Africa. Yep. All right, so
I wonder why he was going to South Africa.
While we had already gone home and we did not attend the second meeting, we did go to Tony Merkel's Airbnb because we recorded an episode for the Big Picture at that house. And that episode is called The Next 150 Days Will Test Everything We Believe. And we aired it on February the 23rd. Go check it out. It's actually a pretty good episode.
Hey, you know what I'll do? I'll link it down below. And that way you can see the famous Airbnb.
You can see
the famous Airbnb. It's famous now. Fantastic.
House where all the equipment was set up. I think he said he recorded other episodes and shows there himself.
Sure did.
But he was kind enough to, do a show with us there in the Airbnb. And you'll know you're on the right one because I think you say something about it being Dolly. A bunker and this is Dolly's house.
Because it's got something about Dolly Varden behind us.
And I'm wearing a gray turtleneck and a navy blue vest type thing.
Yeah.
Don't involve Dolly in your insane nonsense. Dolly Parton is a saint.
Anywho, let's move on real quick. At our meeting, we didn't see pictures of aliens, hybrids from anybody's phone or in any other modality.
Should I believe them? Something tells me that I shouldn't trust that they really did see aliens secretly.
Hey, I like that
At
word.
our meeting.
Woo, that was good. That's fancy. That's bougie.
Jamie Walden, as I think I said earlier, was at our meeting,
Yeah.
and he may have seen something like that, but we left earlier.
Please. You think that people are going around showing pictures of aliens on their phones. Okay.
Yes, it
And
did.
if it happened, it was after we left. I'm not saying Jamie Walden did or did not.
Yeah. Well, he's saying he did, so we're going to trust him.
And that is totally
We're gonna
fine.
trust
We're
him.
just letting
Oh my God, dude. He's saying the government showed him pictures of aliens on their phone, on whoever's phone. Great.
you know
Yeah.
we did not,
No, we
and
did
it
not.
must have happened after we left because we had to go home. All right, here is what did happen. After the meeting started, it was about 2.5 hours of former military / special operators. This was a group of people. It was either 3 or 4 people that are Christians and rescuers of women, children, and everyone in between.
Okay. Women, children, and everyone in between. Siri, turn on living room air conditioner. I thought there was nothing between that. I thought that people were men or women, and that's it. I guess she didn't say men. Are men between women and children? This kind of blows a hole in your, like radical gender blah, blah, blah stuff.
From human trafficking. And quite frankly, it's a lot of details that I cannot go into or discuss because of their privacy and safety.
Uh-huh, yep. For everyone's safety, you can't tell us about the aliens.
Some very key revealing type information was given that cannot leave that room.
Absolutely.
This different group
Yeah, people be hurt, right?
briefed us on their world and their work of rescuing and trying to help get these victims into some type of rehabilitation. They have their own network of people that they work directly with, and I'm imagining people that is outside of their immediate group, because it's a matter of rescuing, and then you have to take these people somewhere to give them safe harbor and even try to give them some kind of rehabilitation. And it's just an entire process, and God bless these people. And I'm going to tell you what, it was very intense, as you can imagine.
It's difficult. Very difficult.
And I really can't even talk about it any further because it was so much.
And it's not, and let me say this, Sandy,
It was a
it's
lot.
not, because this is what I'm getting from some of these videos that people are watching. Well, why can't you just tell us? Why can't you talk about it?
Because they want it to seem more mysterious than it is. That's why.
Because number one, for their safety, but number two, we can't talk about that kind of stuff on YouTube. They won't let you.
Oh, please, dude. You can talk about anything you want on YouTube, okay? You have to censor hard swears on occasion. But there are no limits to what you can talk about. If you say it in a polite way, you can say it, period, on YouTube.
And that's the level. That's the level.
If we were allowed and not at risk of being shut down, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like,
These people are such victims, dude. Please.
ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, this is very intense, okay?
Yeah, let's continue.
All right. I do not believe the second meeting in Nashville, Tennessee received this briefing the first 2.5 hours that we received. So if anybody knows otherwise, I don't think that they received that part. So after that, we had a lunch break, and then we were back for the UFO NHI / coming disclosure part of the meeting. Here are some of the things that we were told in this portion of the meeting: that 90% of craft seen are back engineered and operated by private contractors.
90%. Think about that.
90%, i.e. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, and others. They specifically mentioned, as in type of craft, the Tic Tac, the jellyfish. You may know the names of some other craft that we have seen, and people have believed that they
what they did is they asked us to name some of the videos that we knew.
Yeah,
and we just
people were
started firing
popping
them
off
off, and
different names.
it was like ours.
Yeah, they were saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are apparently sightings that people have had. The Tic Tac, November 14th, 2004, off Southern California, Navy Commander David Fravor. This was part of the UAP files. David Fravor, Top Gun grad, FA-18 Squadron Commander on the USS Nimitz, and Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich saw a white wingless Tic Tac shaped object hovering over churning water. Weapons Officer Chad Underwood recorded 90 seconds of infrared footage and coined the name Tic Tac. In 2017, it went public via media, and in 2020, the DoD formally released it, designated FLIR-1, along with two 2015 videos saying the objects remain unidentified. The other name brands Navy videos here, the Gimbal and Go Fast, filmed 2014 to 2015 off the East Coast in Atlantic. So these are just like configurations of UAPs that people didn't recognize. The jellyfish is a separate, more recent one. It's an infrared video reportedly captured over a U.S. military base in Iraq around 2018, showing a blobby object that hovered over water. Got attention in 2023 via journalist Jeremy Corbell. See if I can pull up what the jellyfish looks like. Okay, so they're looking at water and there's just some object floating here. Awesome. Okay, great. Aliens confirmed, right? So they said non-human craft. They said that they're 90% ours, I think, like human-made. So, like, apparently even the information they received at these briefings is undercutting their claim.
Ours.
Yeah.
Not
meaning governments. And we understand when they say ours, they mean humans.
Yeah.
They mean humans, yeah.
Yes. All right. This is my opinion. This is me. So understand, this is me saying
Oh boy, buckle up. It's about to get psychotic.
this. I think our government wanted plausible deniability and I believe they gave some of these crash craft, which we were told the word was used with us, gifted or gifts, not that they all crashed on their own. Maybe they appeared to crash so that this could be gifted the technology and get this technology into our hands from the NHI, whatever.
Yeah. What?
And
So
at this
that
point, Sandy, I got to interject something. Is I feel like because a lot of times when we do our shows like this, people don't come in at the beginning and they come in later. And we've got some people that's probably coming in later right now on the live. I want to remind you that when you hear all this stuff, because people are going to try to cut this up, I know what they're going to do, and they're going to post it, viral pastor.
Well, it was a really stupid thing to say. I mean, it was really, really dumb. You're claiming that we have alien crafts and that there's a government conspiracy and they're working with pastors like yourself to prepare their flocks for the possibility that demons will come in alien skin to tell people that they created us or whatever. Really? I mean, why don't you just take a step back for a moment and think about what you're saying right now and think about how it sounds? If you have to step back and think about how absolutely absurd it sounds, just at least take another look at it and consider if it's real. It might be, but just think about it.
Responds, him and his wife responds, I get it. And I hope you do that. If you don't cut it up as, just show it. Just show the truth, the full context.
Yeah, just show the 1.5 hour long video. Perfect.
Right.
But I want to make sure you understand that nothing that we are saying that we were told was told to us by the government. That's a narrative that's got to be squashed right now. The government did not plan this meeting, and the government did not send people there to tell these pastors things.
Okay, that's interesting, because that's not what he was claiming before, first of all. And second, There was a pastor, or I'm sorry, there was a congressman there. A congressman called in to the meeting to speak to these people. I forget what his name was now.
These are people who love the Lord, who are connected, who are former military, and they are connected to people that are at high levels. But nothing that we are saying was told by the government to us. Because that's the
Right.
narrative, is that the government has. Why is the government talking to?
Well, that's been heavily implied this entire time, not only by others, but by this dude himself.
Pastors. The government was not talking to pastors.
These men are Christian men and they're on a mission.
Yes.
And again, the part I'm telling you right now is my opinion. So they use the word gifted so that this technology, these craft, whatever, could get into the hands of people. And then, of course, for plausible deniability, our government gave this over to private contractors for them to research, back engineer it.
Wait, for plausible deniability, what could that possibly mean in this context?
And my theory is, well, maybe this came back to bite the government, because now in some cases it seems these contractors are not even letting, they certainly are not letting the Eric Burlesons in to see this, but maybe it's kind of spun out of control.
Yeah.
And it's gone into things maybe it wasn't intended to do, and maybe people that had initially had access to it, in my opinion, can't have access to it anymore.
So you think that private contractors at Lockheed Martin is working on things that they will not allow the U.S. government access to? Is that what you're saying right now? That the U.S. government received spacecraft from aliens as a gift. They gave them the crafts or whatever to Lockheed Martin, and then Lockheed Martin proceeded to lock the government out of any of the research. Really? I mean, think about how plausible that sounds to you, genuinely. Just say that again and listen to yourself speak when you say it.
Because, it's kind of a mad scientist thing. My mind goes to the movie Spider-Man's friend, his dad. What was his corporation? He had government contract.
I don't know.
You that can follow me. He's out there. He's developing weapons, and he gets a little, the next thing you know, he's on a glider flying around.
Oh, the Green Goblin.
The Green Goblin. The Green Goblin. I'm sorry. So his father is some type of government contractor, right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
And he's got this government contract money to develop, I don't know, maybe weapons, maybe just whatever technologies. Next thing you know, he's donned a latex suit and he's flying all around throwing bombs. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
What the Okay. Cool. Go on. I'm listening.
So, my opinion again, maybe the government isn't
Maybe we got a Green Goblin flying around.
fully aware what all they can do with this tech. All right, next up. They talked at our meeting, because I'm trying to run down and give you, because people are like, what is this meeting? What were they talking about?
Right.
Why can't they talk about what they were talking about?
So we're going to tell you everything. We're telling you everything.
I can't tell you everything because, again, the fire
Everything that we
hose.
can remember.
I was writing as fast as I could and trying to mentally process as fast as
And
I
it
could.
is true, as you have heard, we did have to turn our phones off, but we could take notes.
We could not record. So we were
I mean, that's not surprising. In government meetings, you're not supposed to record, right? So
trying to just grasp as much as we could, as fast as we could. All right. So I'm just giving you some examples.
Okay.
They talked about non-human arms race between the United States, Russia, and China. And I think a lot of you have felt that that is what's going on.
That's not new
We're
news.
battling for to develop weapons and tech. And this is my opinion again. When I hear President Trump talk about we have things that they don't even know about and can't even imagine, I think it leans into this thought about the arms race and about tech and about weapons. And, everybody's trying to find out what the other guys got and so forth. Is this okay?
Yes.
Next up, we talked about Jake Barber and the egg-shaped craft, the use of psionics.
Yeah.
oh my God, dude, psionics. The use of psionics. Like telekinesis. They're using their mind to do things. What the hell is happening right now?
Was mentioned.
Was a big deal in that meeting.
Yes.
Psionics was a big
Psionics, and I don't even want to say the names of some of these other abilities because we just get out into the weeds. But you can imagine different kinds of things that you can do with your mind and that people can try to do to you. So,
no, please give me more information.
I'm not going to say any more about that. We talked about Chris Bledsoe, Diana Pasulka, and summoning craft.
Right.
I think you know what I'm trying to say there. We talked about Dr. Stephen Greer. We talked about pilots and what they have seen for decades and are still seeing. We talked about different names of programs like Gateway and et cetera, different agencies like DARPA. We got in the Wayback Machine, and we touched on Jack Parsons.
Okay, so the people that she named, UAP whistleblower Jake Barber, the psionics bit, the things that she's saying, she probably means summoning or communicating with or piloting craft via consciousness. That's really big in the UFO conspiracy theory world right now, especially the Christian nationalist UFO conspiracy world. They believe that you can summon things with your mind, summon demons and stuff, and control the craft with your mind. Apparently, this Greer guy has been marketing CE5 meditation techniques to summon entities for years. Interesting.
Yep.
The Jet Propulsion Lab, Project Paperclip, and on and on and on.
Dude, this Project Paperclip shit, I don't get this. Like, it was a real project where the United States wanted to poach Nazi scientists before the Soviet Union could. What's the conspiracy? There's no conspiracy there. Hold on. Let me look this up. Okay, there's nothing conspiracy about Project Paperclip as far as I can tell. Everybody knows Project Paperclip happened. Like, the U.S. poached Nazis from the Soviet Union. This is not surprising. There's no layer of conspiracy theory to this as far as I can tell. I don't know why she just brought that up. What that has to do with literally anything.
Yep.
The Jet Propulsion Lab, Project Paperclip.
Wait. There's more to this, apparently. There's an occult layer. This is apparently related to an entanglement with a guy named Jack Parsons. Parsons co-founded the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and was a follower of occultist Aleister Crowley. Oh my God. Okay. And a member of the Ordo Templi Orientis. In 1946, alongside L. Ron Hubbard, pre-Scientology, he performed ritual ceremonies called the Babylon Working, intended to summon a goddess and usher in a new age. Okay, I've never heard that before about Project Paperclip. Interesting. The claim is that Parsons' rituals inadvertently triggered the 1947 UFO wave, including Kenneth Arnold's sighting and Roswell. That is fascinating. Does this relate to the UFO Nazi conspiracy? Oh my God. Oh my God, I did not know this. Okay, this relates heavily to the Nazi UFO conspiracy theory. If you guys don't know this conspiracy theory, it's basically apparently connected to Project Paperclip that Nazis after World War II fled to Antarctica and basically were working on UFOs, were working on like building UFOs, and all of the UFOs that we have seen have been Nazi devices run as drones remotely from Antarctica. And there's a guy named, it's a pseudonym, I think, named Ernst Zundel, who wrote this whole big ass book about it. And it's not trustworthy. Zundel was a Nazi. And he was claiming that the Nazis secretly control, blah, 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 you know how they do. I actually have that book. Let me find it. Hold on. Give me a second here. Yes. Here it is. It's right here. UFOs, Nazi Secret Weapon by Ernst Zundel. It's pretty long, and it was written a long time ago, I believe. Like in the 70s, maybe? Actually, it's pretty short. How long is this? It's only 100, wow, it's 182 pages, but there are a lot of pictures in it. Can I find the... I was looking for the copyright. Anyway, if you want to read more about this, there are a couple of scholarly works on this by a guy named, oh, what the hell's his name? Wait. Nicholas Goodrick Clark, that's his name. And he wrote the book, The Occult Roots of Nazism, and the book Black Sun. Black Sun is kind of a part 2 to the occultic roots of Nazism or whatever. But the bottom line is,
And all
they both talk about the kind of conspiracy theory origins of Nazism and the occult underpinnings of it. Fascinatingly. Unfortunately, Nicholas Goodrick Clark died at like 55 years old, and this was his life's work, these two books. And he was the expert on this subject, on the occult roots of Nazism. But he, like, sometimes when academics write, they write in ways that are really, really cryptic and confusing for absolutely no reason. Like, I feel like they don't need to be that cryptic a lot of the time, you know? And it's kind of a tactic to keep non-academics out of the field. That's why they do it. And that you know, he's like a really bad perpetrator of that. So you have to take the book slow if you're going to read it. But anyway, that's apparently connected to all this. That's fascinating.
on and on and on.
So you can see what Sandy is saying is part of it was
Wait, if I know anything well, it's this subject. Really? Interesting. The cat's trying to get in again. Quit it! Get! Hang on one second. Let me fix this. Sorry, Cashmere's trying to get in again. Anyway, that's interesting. You know a lot about the subject. Okay, well, lay some stuff on me. If you have anything interesting to say, just at me in the chat there. Be interested to hear your thoughts.
systematic history lesson of how we got here. And they brought the receipts on how we got here.
And if
a
there
lot of
were-
things that we had heard about, that we had theorized about, was solidified.
And listen, yeah, there were some deeper things that I shouldn't talk about,
Right.
quite frankly. And so I'm not going to. But I'm
Oh, please, dude. Yeah. You are keeping yourself measured. You're keeping your mouth shut, right? For the sake of the country. As you come on here and tell us about Project Paperclip and all the underlying Nazi UFO conspiracies and all that. Yeah, absolutely.
trying to give you an example and maybe get the wheels of your mind turning to understand what they were doing. But I want to tell you this, and please hear me. Please hear me. Again and again, we were cautioned. Do not focus on these things.
Think about it.
And these details, because you can get lost in the weeds.
Yep.
All of this intel distracts from the mission
Yes.
that these guys were on, and they were trying to educate us that there is a coming deception
Yep. That's right.
that will certainly follow closely behind disclosure.
Yep.
Right. So they're going to tell everybody that they created humans. That's their claim, I believe.
And that's ultimately what this was about.
Yes.
It was not about telling us about programs and everything. It was to wake us up, to go back and wake the church up.
Yes.
That is.
Maybe I should go back to my old literature about the subject and write my own book, citing sources, including yours. Okay. I'm not sure what you're referring to specifically, but yeah, definitely. I'm always in favor of writing and citing sources and things. By the way, I have a book releasing in 5 days. OwenMorgan.com/God's People if you want to check it out. It's on Amazon and Audible. Really, really good stuff, in one man's humble opinion. I'm super excited for it to release, actually. It's 11 biographical essays about people in World War II era Germany. And it's really fascinating, in my opinion.
Is it.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that was the purpose. These are
Yes.
men of God who love God saying, we need to make sure the church is ready.
Right.
That's all it was about.
So be not deceived. Don't be overtaken by false narratives.
Faults with a T. There's a T in that word, as you can hear. Faults. Okay.
All right, here's kind of an aside of something else that was mentioned and thrown at us. They mentioned that there's been talk and banter about a coin being minted with President Trump on the face of it,
Oh, boy.
Allegedly.
with a UFO over his shoulder.
Oh, boy.
Is that true? Is that going to happen? I don't know. That's kind of out there for me, and I'm not hinging anything on that. But here is something that is interesting. And I'm going to try to read this off my phone. If you can cast that up on the screen. So in my trying to find more information about this possible supposed coin that's going to be minted, I came across this. And this is called Tuttle Capital's UFO-D, which is for disclosure, positioned at the center of the storm as Trump orders release of government UFO files. And this was from February 20th. And so here is just a little bit of what I want to read to you. With President Donald Trump directing classified UFO file releases and former President Barack Obama declaring aliens real, Tuttle Capital's UFO Disclosure ETF, which is an exchange traded fund, is offering investors a first of its kind vehicle to capitalize on a historic shift in government transparency. Tuttle Capital Management's UFO Disclosure EFT, launched February the 5th, 2026, is an actively managed fund invested in aerospace, defense, advanced materials, energy companies positioned to potentially benefit from government disclosure of non-human intelligent technologies. What say you on that, sir?
Well, let me just say it. That
Okay, that was a lot. I have no idea what she was even talking about there.
I think I would not be surprised if this is tied to the coin, that the ETF is going to be the coin. We're speculating, but it is interesting that there are coins and ETFs being declared.
Talked about at least. But this is actually launched
This is
on
launched.
February
Yeah,
the 5th.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the coin. I don't think it's the coin.
This is the ETF.
Yeah,
but
so maybe behind the coin. All right.
This just makes my mind immediately go to they'll bet on anything over in Vegas or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I guess if you can get in on it and turn a buck.
Okay, I'm just looking at the coin is not real. Okay, the coin that she's talking about is fake. It's a rumor that floated around for a little while. It didn't happen, and it's not going to. So what did launch is the Tuttle Capital UFO Disclosure ETF, ticker UFOD. It launched February 5th, issued by Tuttle Capital, and it's an actively managed fund designed to invest in U.S. companies believed to benefit from the disclosure, confirmation, or exploitation of UAP and non-human intelligence technologies. It invests mainly in aerospace and defense, advanced materials, and energy companies. So it's a normal stock fund with a gimmick theme, basically, is what it is. You're not buying alien technology. You're buying Lockheed and friends with UFOs as the justification. So this is complete nonsense.
Have at it. All right. I want to say a couple more things. There have been other meetings besides these two. We mentioned that previously. We don't have intel on those, but like I said, maybe that will be coming out soon. And we talked about that a lot of people didn't believe any of this. They thought it was lies, that people involved were...
No, I don't think it's lies. I think it's insanity. It's people who want to be important but just aren't.
Liars, or the word psyop was used. And that's fine. You can...
Nerico, just say good morning and hope everyone is well. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, everything is going well. I got to sleep for the first time in a hot minute last night, so yeah. I slept a little bit late today.
And you can feel however you... And I even understand it. If I was on the outside trying to watch all these videos and piece this together, I would probably get mad, throw my hands up and say, this is a bunch of hooey and I don't want to hear it. This is just silliness and nonsense.
Yes, it absolutely is silliness and nonsense. 100%.
But I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, these two meetings at least did happen.
They absolutely happened.
I believe they happened. They were run predominantly by Christian nationalist nutcases with a single congressman involved. Yeah.
And what I have mentioned here are just some of the things. I'm trying to give you some examples of our experience. We did have the briefing on the trafficking, the human trafficking. I don't think they had that in the second meeting right before we left.
What, do they not care about human trafficking?
Our meeting on in the first part of February, Eric Burleson did call into our meeting.
Yes, he did.
And
Yeah, he's a congressman. He's the congressman involved in all of this, famously.
Called in on one of the presenters that did the UFO part of the meeting, called in their cell phone. They put it on speakerphone, and he did address us. He thanked us for being there, and he encouraged us to hold fast, that he really believed that disclosure was coming soon.
Yes.
And as you know, he is a very key part of this disclosure. He and one or two other people are in a committee that are on the forefront, and the president has even tasked Eric Burleson with going to these facilities, getting into these facilities, and being able to see what is in these facilities. And I think you know what I mean. Because
Talking about the alien facilities that have aliens in them. Right.
Because David Grush and either Anna Paulina Luna or Nancy Mace, way back in these hearings, were talking about, what did you see?
Right.
Did you
Anna Paulina Luna, complete nutcase, has serious problems.
see biologicals or bodies basically? Did you see craft? I think you've all
And
have
Grush said yes.
seen that 100 times. But at this point, having talked about that, the congressman absolutely did call in. I want to turn it over to you at this point.
Yeah, well, that's the part that went viral when it came to me, because I was on another program. That's not our program. I was a guest on another show. And, you know, a lot of times when you're a guest on another show, you're done. It gets posted. Well, you know this about me. And the Big Picture family certainly knows this about me. I mean, we make fun about squirrel. I mean, it's like this is my life. Okay. I don't know. What do I have? Is it ADHD? I don't know what it is. What do I have?
We do need to get a diagnosis because
I don't know if I've ever been officially diagnosed.
You obviously are very intense.
Yes.
And you talk really fast.
Yes.
And you jump from one thing to the other.
All the time.
Talk about jumping from one thing to another. Like, why are we talking about their ADHD diagnosis now?
We had it earlier tonight. You just started off talking to me about something. I'm like, what are you talking?
In my mind.
You just shift.
But
his
in my mind,
he thought I was with him, and
I thought you knew we changed the subject.
And I could just jump right in on the conversation. And I'm like,
is this a conversation you guys can have off air, or no?
It's all the time.
So look,
we'll be driving down the road, y'all, and it's total silence, and we're just driving down the road, and I'm in my mind, I'm thinking that she's been talking to me about this.
Yeah. And so, what did you think about that? Well, I don't know, dear.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You're like, what are you talking about? I was like, this. She's like, we were not talking about that.
But you didn't say that. But anyway, so
all that the digress.
Talk about a digression, right? What are you talking about, and why do I care?
So when he called in.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys noticed the sign behind them, awake, not woke. Awake, not woke. Love it.
He did say all the things that you said. He was very gracious. He was
everyone in the room.
To everyone in the room, not just to us.
Yes.
But he did say what I've said on the video. He did say, "Pastors, are you there? Can you hear us?" We said yes. Mm-hmm. And he thanked us for our service because he is a strong believer. He's unashamed of that. It's very well known that he professes to be a very strong believer, and I believe
By the by, I'm sorry, I missed this. Hi, Owen. Have you seen the Iranian soccer team, the Uzbekistan soccer team, and referee Omar Artan have been treated ahead of the World Cup? No. Have I seen how they've been treated? Yes, I have. I thought you were saying something happened to them. Yeah, I have seen that. I don't know why FIFA is allowing this. It is FIFA, right? World Cup? Yeah. I don't know why FIFA is allowing this. They're like on Trump's good side. Why are they accepting this kind of behavior from Trump? And, you know, I can't imagine the Olympics are going to be held in a country with a dictatorship again. I bet they're going to try to avoid that at all costs. Hilariously, or disturbingly maybe, the exact same thing happened in Germany in the 1930s. They hosted the Olympics in 36, I think. And by that time, it was actually a full dictatorship. But they were trying to put on a good face around the world. They wanted to look legitimate in Germany. So they took down a lot of the swastika banners and things like that. Anyway.
He is. And he was just like, thank you for the work that you're doing on the ground there. It's, what you're doing is important. I wanted to call you and encourage you that, man, this is big to me. And I wanted to make sure that I just told you guys, get them ready. Basically, that was it. And so as I'm on this other program, not the Big Picture, but as a guest on another program, I'm just telling about this meeting, and I'm saying, Congress, I didn't even say his name. I just said, as you know, the video, I'm not going to rehash the video, but the original video that somebody put the filter on it and all that you saw, that was not the original. I was not in black and white with old-fashioned movie grains on my face.
And I don't think your interview and show was really, you were there to talk about your book, but then as you got into this meeting we attended, you
Yeah.
obviously got a little more hyped up
Yeah,
and
because I
a
was
little
ready.
more intense.
Well, what I was talking about is if I remember correctly, I was talking about the days of Noah, which is what the book is about, and I was talking about how they're going to manifest in so many different ways. And I got to the alien part, and I was just, I thought about the meeting, started talking about the meeting, and in the midst of talking about the meeting, then I just basically
You're jumping
shifted
all
in my
over the
mind,
place.
and I started saying what I've said all along.
And you thought that
Yeah.
everybody in the listening audience was
Yeah.
totally with you,
Yeah.
and they were
So
not.
there was never
Bro, what? These people are so weird.
a thought in my mind, okay, what just happened there?
No.
Until this went viral, and then I realized
Right.
immediately, I saw it. I saw, okay,
Yes.
yeah, if I don't know me, and if I didn't see it in context,
Of course.
I would think the same thing. So I saw that,
Right.
and that's when I said, okay, yeah, I understand why people think that I'm saying
Yes.
that Eric Burleson said
But
that.
you did not
But
realize this until late on.
So this is an apology, basically. He's saying Burleson didn't actually say that the aliens have visited us yet. And he's trying to set the record straight here. That's interesting.
On Tuesday
Tuesday
night,
night,
you were not home.
No.
You were traveling. You
Yeah.
had gone to Texas to do an
Several
interview.
I've been doing them all day.
Right.
And I
about the book,
So-
and someone contacted you and said, "Hey, dude, you're going viral." And you're
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
"Over what?
Yeah, what is
Why?"
this? And I started looking at it. People started blowing my phone up, and I was like, "Oh, my heart just like, wow, what in the world is going on here?"
Yes.
Because honestly, I didn't even recognize the clip. I didn't recognize
No.
where this came from. I had no idea where it came from. I knew it was me. But when I saw it, I immediately owned it. I called you from the
Yes.
hotel, and I was just like, "Okay, look,
You were
I
very
get it."
distraught.
I was very distraught. I was like, I
Because-
get why people are thinking this,
Right.
but that is not what I was
That
doing.
is not-
That is not what I was saying. I was
Wow, he's apologizing. That's fun. That is hilarious, dude.
giving my opinion, but I get it.
That was not your intention
Yeah.
to make it sound
Yeah.
like the congressman said or felt that way.
No, absolutely not.
I bet.
But anyway, so this was late at night.
Yeah.
You were going to have to catch a flight back home.
Yep.
The next morning, it was pretty early. So as quickly as you could get yourself together, and one of the reasons the apology video is a little strange is because you're in the airport trying to be quiet and respectful of everybody around
Absolutely.
you, because you only have
I-
a very short amount of time. You've got to get on the plane.
When I recorded the video, I had 15 minutes, and then
He's talking about this video. Right here.
I want to address this video that's going around of me in regards to the meeting of pastors that gathered to discuss the upcoming so-called UFO disclosure. In this video, I stated that a congressman from Missouri had called in to speak to the pastors. And of course, it's being revealed now that that is Congressman Eric Burleson. And he did call in, but he called in to encourage us and to thank us pastors for the work that we're doing, and that we are, speaking the truth to our people and pointing them to Jesus and not get distracted of things in the world. In that moment, I began to state things that I have always said. That is my opinion, and my opinion is, and that's exactly all it is.
Yeah, he the opinion is that he believed that aliens have visited us and are claiming that they are our creators.
My opinion that when this disclosure comes out, that it will be spun that it is that the aliens have always been here, that they seeded us, that they created the first religion, and all of that. I should have stopped and paused and said, and this part is my opinion. In the heat of that, I didn't. I led with saying that they had called the pastors, and I went straight into my opinion. So I want to make it very clear that Eric Burleson did not say those words. Those were my words. And I want to own it, and I want to apologize directly to Congressman Eric Burleson for any
I bet he's not going to be involved in anything Burleson has going on from now on, right?
problems that this has caused you, any confusion, and to any of the viewers that have seen this video clip. So I wanted to state the facts and make it very, very clear what actually happened.
Anyway, that's the apology.
they were boarding, and I had to post it to all the different platforms. So I'm like, my goodness, this thing has got to go right now.
Right. So
And-
we don't want to make
No.
a large portion of the show
No.
about this. We're just
No.
trying to lay it out so you can understand what happened, how it happened, how he
But
responded.
I also want to make something. I want to say something else that I have not said publicly. Is It was so important to me to get the message to Congressman Burleson that I did not mean in any way, shape, or form for it to come across that way, that it was my opinion. I was trying to find him in the hotel room that night. I've tried to find a way to contact him. I couldn't find anything. So I actually called from the hotel room before I went to bed that night because I didn't know what else to do. I called his answering service and I
Dude, this is painfully embarrassing.
thought, okay, I see on TV sometimes where it says, give me a call. My staff will make sure I get the call. I called and left a voicemail at the Missouri
At the State
headquarters,
House,
the State House. And I basically said everything that I'm just saying right now. This is before I even tried to go to sleep that night. I made sure that Eric Burleson knew that night before I went to bed, I'm doing everything I can do to let you know that
Right.
what is being spun right now is not what happened. Yes, it looks like I'm owning it. I can't explain it other than yes. And by the way, people started, I want to say this too, people started hitting me up and going, man.
Boy, this is so embarrassing, dude. This guy apparently overstepped the claims, and Burleson got upset about it, and now he's like apologizing publicly to him and stuff. Painful. Absolutely painful. Hang on. Just checking something. Yeah.
I know they cut you up. I know they edited it to make it look. I said, no, they didn't. Nobody edited.
No.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did Burleson get back to him then? Is that what it is?
And by the way, people started, I want to say this too, people started hitting me up and going, man, I know they cut you up. I know they edited it to make it look. I said, no, they didn't. Nobody edited anything.
We were not trying to say that. We were not trying to say this was AI. No. He owned it.
I was just like,
he did the second video, which was the apology. And why don't you, if nobody has seen it, show the response from Congressman Burleson.
So one of the many people that made me go viral, I don't even know who. I think I figured out who the original guy was.
Says, greatly appreciate the pastor's comments here. Don't hold any blame on him. This kind of thing happens all the time. Been in politics for a while. I've interviewed with countless media outlets on countless topics, but I've never had my words more scrutinized and dissected is when I talk about the topic of UAPs. Okay.
But yeah, one of those guys posted it and, said he's responded and tagged Eric Burleson in it. And I was very touched by this. A friend of mine texted me and said, hey, Congressman Burleson has responded directly to you. I was like, what? So I went and I looked at the video. This is the video here that most of you have seen. This is my video that we're talking about. I did.
You look like you had not slept a wink.
Yeah, you can see my eyes. I mean, I think I got like 2.5 hours that night, literally. But he said, greatly appreciate the pastor's comments here. I don't hold any blame on him. This kind of thing happens all the time. I've been in politics for a while and have interviewed with countless media outlets on countless topics, but I've never had my words more scrutinized and dissected as when I talk about the topic of UAPs. So a couple of things here. First of all, he addresses me directly and says, basically, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your words. And then he's let me know, man, I'm good. I don't hold any blame against you. But then he broke down, hey, this subject, I get it why you're being meticulously dissected.
Okay, this isn't about being meticulously dissected. The dude literally said aliens have visited us and claimed to be our creators. That's not like an unfair interpretation of what he said. Okay, that's just exactly what he said.
Because I get it to me all the time.
And that was so kind of him.
Yeah.
He totally did not have to do that.
No.
And so, that really impressed us.
Absolutely.
And we're grateful for it. And I want to go on to say, we have gone back and forth with the idea and theory that there was some strange conjuring with the Perry Stone video, which you've all seen, and your video, because this wasn't new news.
No.
The Perry Stone show had aired on April 27th, I believe, but the talk about, hey, I've been in a private meeting, I've been in a meeting with pastors, had been being talked about since probably the end of February.
Yeah.
So the intent to make this look like all these pastors were just now coming on the scene and saying, hey, everybody, I've just been in a super secret pastors meeting. The only thing, and Alan DiDio has said this, that was secret
Alan DiDio is one of the pastors who was in the meeting.
are the people who put the event on.
Yep.
And some of the information that they talked about that day. A lot of this, all of you have heard. You're familiar with much of this.
Yes.
But yeah, how that came down seemed a little orchestrated. And how strange is it? This thing truly went viral. If you want to know the definition of viral,
This was viral.
this just get a picture of this situation.
It's insane.
It went viral, but it goes viral on the same week that the president has
Think about it.
called forth what I'm calling a document dump or a file release.
Yep.
This happened on Tuesday. I did not know. I don't know if anyone else had prior knowledge that we were going to be getting a bunch of files released on Friday.
No.
This was Tuesday. The file release.
I mean, the congressman has been working on this for a long time. So is Anna Paulina Luna, who is also a complete nutcase. They've been trying to get big, massive dumps of documents put out for a while. In fact, Anna Paulina Luna, like, she was there in Hillary Clinton's deposition on Epstein, and she actually asked Clinton about it. And Hillary Clinton was like, yeah, I would love to see these documents released. I don't see why they shouldn't be released. So she's got the backing of Hillary Clinton, apparently.
Happened Friday. I would love if anyone could tell me this has been planned.
Yeah.
Or if maybe, just maybe, all of this noise created by this viral moment, somebody said, hey, this is a great moment, an opportune time to go ahead and have the first drop. I would love to know.
Yeah, because the truth is, while these is being dropped, Stephen Greer is having his.
Oh yeah, we failed to
thing.
mention that.
Yeah, he's
And
having his thing, and then
how
all of a
long
sudden,
in advance was that planned?
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh, Greer. Yes, Greer is that one guy who he's the no. Who is Greer? I forget. Give me a second. I don't remember. He's Dr. Stephen Greer, former emergency room physician who over the past 30 years built himself into the godfather of the modern UFO disclosure movement. He's founder of the Disclosure Project, author of 5 books, and producer of documentaries Unacknowledged, The Lost Century, seen by millions, and he promotes peaceful contact with interstellar civilizations, CE5 contact protocols, meditation techniques, and free energy. He's a conspiracy theorist. That's who he is. Yep.
So we had been told in the
Right.
meeting that it had been pushed up to May for some reason. My opinion is the reason they said, and they didn't know it at that time, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but they said something happened to push it back from July. I think Greer pushed it back. I think they because
Okay.
he had to book the room and all this, so he had to start advertising it. So when they found out that Greer was going to bring all his whistleblowers, they thought, okay, we got to do something in May to combat against that.
That's a much more plausible,
And
believable.
they used us, they used the pastors and me and all this kind of stuff to just create chaos all in 1 week.
Oh, yeah. It's all a conspiracy theory, and you're the target, right? Okay. Got it.
Look, it
That's
created
just that's opinion, allegedly.
it created a lot of noise. It got a lot of traction, a lot of energy, whether it was totally organic on its own or
Are you saying it was Russian bots?
somebody gave it a little push and helped it. It's just, there's no getting around. It was a big to do.
Yes.
That was a big to do. Then you have the release of the files was a big to do. Then you've got Greer. And if you watched our show the previous week, we showed some video of statements he's making with, what would you say, more determination or intent than I've ever heard him speak with. And so he has his press club event, and that was a lot for 1 week. A lot.
It was a lot. Well,
and we've got other things we want to talk about. Okay, we wanted to talk about this.
Sorry, the cat keeps trying to get in. It's frustrating. 1 second. Let me fix this. I'm actually going to have to run over and grab some food real fast. How far in are we? 45 minutes? 1:30. I think I have some time. Okay. I'm going to let this play for just a minute. I'm going to make some food. Anyway, tell me what you think about these people in the comments. This is absolutely insane. It's entertaining as hell. I'll be back in just a minute. And I'm going to let it play. And we may or may not come back to it. We'll see when we get there. All right? I'll be right back.
Give you some chronology of how it went for us. I can't speak for anybody else other than the things I've heard them say.
Yeah.
Okay. I may have repeated what I've heard and what you've probably heard them say about their experience.
But this is not all that this show is about, Sandy. We have taken at this point, almost an hour. It's like 45, 48 minutes. But we just felt like, okay, everybody's given their show and all this. We haven't really did a show together. We were in the meeting together. So as far as I'm concerned, one more thing I want to say about Congressman Eric Burleson. I said this on Paul Begley's show the other night, and I'm going to say it again right now. We're going to spend our time and effort doing exactly what Congress Burleson asked us to do. We are going to wake up the church. We're going to preach the gospel, and we're going to talk about these subjects here unapologetically. Nothing has changed. We are not ashamed. We're not afraid. I'm not afraid to go viral. Look, it is what it is, and it's time to move on. Yes. All right. So let's move on to some other things that are going on in the world. All right. So I want to just show you a couple of things here, and we're going to rapid fire this. First thing I want to show you, by the way, I'm not going to go any further without telling you get to get a copy of the Final Flood. And I wanted to especially tell you right now, because so many of you have been saying, I wished it was on audiobook. Well, guess what? It's on audiobook now. So you can get paperback, Kindle, or audiobook. And if you're on Audible, I found out that, if you got credits on Audible, it's 1 credit. So if you got to spend those or you lose them. So go ahead. If you got any if you got any left on your Audible account, go get the Final Flood. This dude, the guy they chose, I didn't choose him. He's great. It's still a #1 bestseller. We got over almost 175 5-star ratings, y'all. It's just amazing what you have done. We're #1 in one category, #3 in eschatology, #4 in spiritual warfare overall, and still running about between 900 and 1,200 of all books. Sandy, that's insane. That's 40 million books.
We feel really blessed.
That is just what you guys have done. So thank you so much for all that you've done to help the Final Flood get to where it is. All right. So you know who this guy is. This is Dan Farah. He's the director of, and the, I guess, producer, director, or whatever, of The Age of Disclosure. All right. So he's best friends with none other than Steven Spielberg. They did Ready Player One together. So guess what he's become now? It's interesting to me that he's a filmmaker, but he's become the go-to guy to ask about UFOs and disclosure. Oh, so they bring him on Fox News. They bring him on CNN. This is CNN. They're bringing him on not as just a filmmaker, but listen to what he says about how he believes the film is so influential in what is happening right now and what just happened Friday on the Document Dump.
Joins us live now on set. Dan, welcome back to The Story Is. This doesn't happen today without your movie.
Absolutely not. And, I think we're in the middle of a major turning point in human history, and super proud of the role the film is playing in educating the public.
Let's talk about some of the specifics of what we saw here. One thing you found especially interesting, and we've got an image of this, it's 1972. Apollo 17 goes to the moon.
This is wild.
And then the astronauts see this image right here. 3 lights.
This is what he
triangle
says about
of lights.
It's a triangle craft, a structured aircraft observing the astronauts on the moon in 1972. And it's pretty extraordinary. Obviously, we don't have anti-gravity technology now. We didn't have it then. I had heard that this image exists while I was making my film, but it was still kept in secrecy. But today it was released to the public.
And what do you make of that?
I think it's extraordinary evidence. I mean, that is a structured craft observing the astronauts on the moon.
I mean, what do you think about that? Just an open, it's not, I think it is, it's not, this is my opinion.
I
He
think
emphatically says this is a craft observing our astronauts on the moon
I
in the
think
70s.
it's tremendous that this has come out and he's able to comment on it and so on and so forth. But he goes on and says, you know, we don't have an gravitic craft now. We
Yeah,
certainly
right.
didn't
Yeah,
have it
yeah,
then. While
yeah.
you have Dr. Stephen Greer
Yeah.
over here on the other side of the spectrum saying, we mastered antigravitics in 1954. And I
Yeah.
know that basically because my uncle worked at Northrop Grumman and he told me so.
Right. So this is the actual file. We have the ability to look at all the files here. This is the file from Apollo 17, 1972. And this is what they were showing there. This is a part of the document dump. The image contains 3 dots, is what they're saying, in a triangular formation in the lower right quadrant of the lunar sky that is clearly visible upon magnification of the image. While this photo has been previously released and discussed by keen observers, there is no consensus report on the nature of the anomaly. The preliminary U.S. government analysis suggests the image feature is potentially the result of physical object in the scene. Additionally, as part of the investigation, the government has obtained the original film from the Apollo 17 mission, and the results of the full NASA and DOW analysis will be released when completed. So one of the things that Luna is saying, and Tim Burchett and I think even Burleson is saying, is that within a week of tonight, maybe even this week, by this Friday, that 46 files videos that they have seen that no one else has seen
Hold on a second.
that is going to come out.
Didn't Jeremy Corbell and
He's seen some of them.
okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm talking about the public.
I know you're talking about the public, but I'm just saying he and George Knapp, they say they've seen, I thought he said had seen all of them, but he's at least seen some of them.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so let me show you this right here. This dude right here, last Monday night, the biggest show we've ever had on a Monday night by far.
How many views did you say that got?
At the time, right now, it's pushing 41,000 views for us.
Are you kidding me?
We typically have like 10,000 on a good day. But it was because we exposed this guy right here. And who knows, y'all, I might be getting in more trouble but right now while I'm saying this. Do you remember last Monday night? And guys, you can go back and watch it. At some point when we got through exposing Greer at the end about him declaring that Christianity was really the remember me saying, I'll be honest with you, I got a weird feeling in my gut. Do you remember me saying that? And I thought,
and then 24 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. I thought maybe I hope his minions don't come after me.
We certainly don't know if he was behind this.
No, but
can we say
we don't know he wasn't.
Can we say you found the X account?
I did.
Where
originated.
Where?
And I'm not giving him any props.
Okay, we're not going to give his name.
Nope.
But the Perry Stone video, as well as the video of you found where it originated.
Yep.
So everybody understand.
Yep.
This went viral on X first.
I don't want to say anything else about it because I don't want him to make it mad and make a reaction video to me exposing
it. So it was there before it went to YouTube.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, X was where it blew up. All right, so
I want to say one more thing.
I don't want to talk about him.
I just want to say, without giving any information, I said, just look into some background and tell me some things.
Don't say what I found.
And I'm not going to say it, but it was quite interesting.
Quite interesting. But you'll have to find out on your own.
You'll have to find out on your own.
We're not going to talk about it. All right, so look here. Dr. Greer told Alex Jones in the 1980s that the U.S. military met time travelers from 500,000 years into the future, described as luminous white beings who claimed they were descended from humanity.
Are these the tall blondes?
Well, listen, let's just hear what he has to say. This is part of the evidence that he presented Friday, but this is when he came on the show and told Alex Jones this. This is what we're dealing with.
Okay. If the aliens wanted to kill us, they would just think it would be done. We're done. Yeah, I mean, imagine interstellar level and quantum entanglement level technologies weaponized. It would be a nanosecond. So they're very peaceful, and they're very concerned
They're like
about our
bird watchers.
situation.
They're looking at us in binoculars and think we're pretty. Right?
No, they think we're ants.
They're like bird watchers with binoculars looking at it.
Oh, can you guys hear? Oh, you can hear me. Hi, chat. I haven't been here in a bit. I've been so busy with school and stuff. What's up? How are you guys doing? The baby's here, and I was just... Where's Owen? Did the aliens abduct him? Yeah. Actually, I abducted him, and then, I decided to replace him. This is my channel now, guys. Say goodbye to Owen. He's gone. I got rid of him. I got a haircut. I don't think I've been on stream since I got my haircut. I need to dye it again. My friend's gonna dye it for me soon. And yeah, the baby's here. She's in the room next to me. I love her so much. She's so cute. While Dad was streaming, I changed her, fed her, burped her, and then had her go back to sleep. And she's so cute. She's so cute. I love her so much. She's so cute. Are you acting out since the new baby is getting all of the attention? Yes, that's actually why I abducted and got rid of my dad. Because the new baby is getting all the attention. It's a hostile channel takeover. I don't like thinking about haircuts. When I was a kid, I had haircut phobia. Yeah, I like getting my hair cut because I hate my hair long. I need to get it shorter, actually. It's too long for me still. I want to get it like... something boy haircut, something, I don't know. Have you guys got a name for her yet? Yeah, we're calling her Hazel. She's so pretty. I love her so much. Because school is ending, which I just had my last final today, my final. Because school's ending, I'm gonna have a lot more time. And I'm gonna become nocturnal for a little bit because of the schedule that I agreed to for work. So I told my parents that I am more than willing to take care of her at night while they sleep. And by more than willing to take care of her, I mean I will be taking care of her. Because my stepmom was like, oh, I don't want to ask too much of you. I will be taking care of her. She is my child now. She's mine. Dibs. Congratulations, Aya Sierra. Suddenly it's a dramatic channel too, yeah. Good name, I know. Dad and I chose it. And, you know, my stepmom, but Dad and I chose it. I love her so much. Yeah, I'm the captain now. If you get a haircut or something, you look different. Yeah, I got my haircut. I have piercings, which I've had for a bit, but I don't know, some people might not have seen them. I love them. I'm gonna get my haircut more. Yeah. It's Pride Month, guys. It's Pride Month. My pronouns are they, them. My friends use they, he, but they, them. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Dad knows this, but they all call me Kai, K-Y. My friend chose that name for me because I love her so much. Elise. She's so amazing. But yeah, because it's Pride Month, I'll just tell you guys I don't really care. I don't really care if you guys know. I think Dad does care though, so whatever. Non-binary and bisexual. Dad's back.
Okay, need it back.
Guys, he's trying to take his channel back over.
Oh,
Remember,
I'm
I'm
better.
better.
This whole time. No, I'm kidding. You haven't.
I know that I haven't.
Okay.
Because I've been interacting with them.
All right.
I told them her name is Hazel.
Okay, go ahead. All right. Love you. Go ahead and shut the door there, okay?
Bye, guys.
Awesome. There are actually, hang on. I'm trying to fix this. There are actually a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Gwyneth Paltrow has some weird shit going on. That seems entertaining as hell. I want to cover that. I also want to cover this dude named Trey or something. I forget his name now. I'm going to look in a second. Hang on. Let me take a bite here. So good. OMG. Okay. Let's cover some stuff, shall we? Wait, what's this? Oh, it looks like it got interesting. God, this Alan Greer guy looks weird. What is this?
They think we're pretty.
I mean, they're like,
Well, I think it's more than that. No, I think there is a compelling long-term interest.
Oh my God, this looks like it got really interesting. Okay. Give me a second to pull up. All right, I'm gonna grab a few of these videos. I'm gonna grab the Gwyneth Paltrow one here. Grab the Trump one. And Scott Bottoms. This guy's name is Scott Bottoms. What an absolutely terrible name, dude. Oh my God. Imagine having the name Scott Bottoms. Wait, what's this? This isn't a video. Hang on. Okay. Just wanted to chew. Sorry.
You have claimed without offering evidence. You have claimed without offering.
Okay, I grabbed those 4 videos. Let me fix their aspect ratio next. Wait. Megyn Kelly, ban Californians from voting if they can't get off their lazy fat asses to go to the polling stations. What's this? MAGA mom finds out that Trump is trying to cut her disabled son's federal benefits. Jesus Christ, this is really zoomed in. Why is this so zoomed in? It's an image. What is Paltrow saying here?
This with my own husband too, who's the best person ever in the world. He's so progressive. Like, he has such a sweet heart, and he wants to like make sure everybody's looked after. I'm pretty centrist, and my husband thinks I'm a Republican, which I'm not a Republican. I mean, I don't feel anything right now, to be totally honest with you. I feel like I'm completely an independent.
I bet. What's this one? Hold on.
You have claimed without offering evidence.
Actually, hold on. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to...
This with my own husband.
You've been doing all that?
You have claimed without...
Okay.
Evidence that there are 45,000 to 50,000 Tren de Aragua gang members in Colorado, mostly in rural areas, which is odd because that's 10 to 20 times the worldwide membership of the gang, according to the U.S. government. You also say that sheriffs in Colorado are preparing to deputize people who have special forces experience to go and fight this foreign army. I reached out to every single sheriff in Colorado. Not one said you're telling the truth. A couple of them laughed you right out of the room. Do you stand by your claim, and will you finally present your evidence tonight?
They said I got that wrong. What they said was actually happening is 45,000 Venezuelans came directly to Denver and then applied for asylum, and they said there's probably 60 or 70,000 Venezuelans, not cartel, but just Venezuelans.
We emailed every single sheriff's office multiple times. We heard back from 40 of the more than 60 sheriffs, and the sheriffs that we heard back from did not support your claims. The one sheriff that you name-checked in your lengthy response to us, Teller County Sheriff Jason Meixel, who was a previous candidate for governor, said you're confused about things you see on the news, which I believe you just confirmed when you said you couldn't tell the difference between the 45,000 Venezuelans who came to Colorado and 45,000 Tren de Aragua gang members.
Damn, dude, he's getting destroyed.
We've been doing all
This with my own.
He's getting destroyed. I'm sorry, let me...
You have claimed...
Yeah, here we go. I pulled it up.
which do not exist in the whole...
We were at 120. Why is it so quiet? I can fix that too, actually. Normalize audio. Process all. Clear completed. It's almost done. There it is. Now I can open again.
You have claimed without off
Actually happening is
120.
The news, which I believe you just confirmed when you said you couldn't tell the difference between the 45,000 Venezuelans who came to Colorado and 45,000 Tren de Aragua gang members, which do not exist in the whole wide world.
So I'm right about the fact that not all 65 told you that.
Absolutely. What I said was that
15 didn't.
What I said was that we couldn't find one who says you're telling the truth.
That's a funny way to spin that.
Would you like to name the ones who support your claim?
I don't have to now. You just did. 15.
No, those are 15 that didn't respond, sir. That's not how math and logic work. Would you like...
Damn, dude, this guy is destroying this guy.
To list the sheriffs who publicly will support your claim that they are overrun by TDA gang members and are preparing to deputize special forces?
So when you said that all 65 said that I was making that up and that you talked to all 65 and they all said...
No, good grief, sir. That's not what I said. Anybody watching at home can just roll back the tape. I'm not going to respond.
It is just what you said.
What I said was I reached out to every single sheriff in Colorado and not one said you're telling the truth. In fact, we heard from 40 who said that they had no evidence to support your claim. Tonight's your chance. Lay out your evidence.
And 2 weeks ago when you said it on your TV show, you said the same thing. We have the recording. 65 said that
Tonight's
all
the time to lay out your evidence. It feels like you think you've won a clever game here. This is your chance to present your evidence to Colorado that the rural counties are overrun with tens of thousands of TDA members, or to say, whoops, I can't tell the difference between Venezuelans and gang members.
Well, I already said that.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Rodgers.
Damn, that was a sick burn, dude. Oh my God. That guy got owned. That was brutal. I've seen that, I'm sorry. I've seen that guy before, that, what's his name? That, reporter before. I don't remember who he is. But wow, that hurt. It's Kyle Clark. That's who it is. Kyle Clark. Dude, he is absolutely destroying people right now. I was hoping for some, Oh, that's right. I completely forgot. Hold on. I completely forgot about this. I wanted to cover this. Yeah.
We are your...
Yeah, here we go. Open. Jehovah's Witnesses now have an Instagram page and a TikTok or whatever the kids are calling it. I want to watch some of their videos and see what they say. Russia has raided over 2,300 homes of Jehovah's Witnesses and imprisoned over 530 believers, men and women. Yeah, I agree. That's not good. I don't want that. It's a policy of intolerance, according to the European Court of Human Rights. Sorry, I'm chewing. It's my last bite. Hold on. Okay. Actually, let's not start with this one. Let's start with... Is it this one? No. Which one is it? Is it this one?
We are your neighbors.
Yeah, it's this one. This is the one I wanted to hit. Okay, got it. Jehovah's Witnesses started a TikTok and an Instagram. They're public facing. They're supposed to not be for Jehovah's Witnesses, but be for prospective Jehovah's Witnesses.
We are your neighbors, your doctors, your teachers. We are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Trying to humanize themselves, right?
I'm your classmate.
I'm your teacher.
I am your doctor.
Wait, which Jehovah's Witness is a doctor? Higher education is banned among Jehovah's Witnesses, in effect. Nobody ever does it. Some people join after becoming a doctor, but think about how rare that is. Honestly, if I'm not mistaken, their numbers in the United States are going down now. The only reason they're growing as a religion is because their numbers in third world countries, or let me rephrase, their numbers in developing countries are going up. They're quickly becoming a developing nation religion.
I'm your lawyer.
No.
I'm your firefighter.
No. What Jehovah's Witness is a firefighter? Really? That is so incredibly uncommon. They want to make people feel like they're part of the community. They're not. By design, intentionally, they're not. They don't want to be part of the community. You know, when Hurricane Katrina happened, I was in the religion, and I wanted to go with some people in my congregation who were going to Louisiana, I believe, to help fix up houses after Hurricane Katrina, but only the houses of other Jehovah's Witnesses. They weren't helping the local communities. They were helping other Jehovah's Witnesses exclusively, intentionally. Because they say you shouldn't be a part of this world. Well, that extends to not helping your community. And what is a firefighter? A volunteer who helps his community. That's not something Jehovah's Witnesses do. It just isn't.
We are Jehovah's Witnesses.
9.2 million Jehovah's Witnesses in 241 lands. When disasters strike, we respond.
Yeah, they help other Jehovah's Witnesses. They do not help communities.
We help our communities thrive.
No.
Across 6 continents, there are compelling stories waiting to be told.
Wait, what about the 7th continent? Nobody in Antarctica?
For press inquiries and research resources, contact us at JW Pressroom.
Anyway, it's very obviously designed for outsiders looking in. And some of it is just ridiculous. Check this one out. Breaking news, Russia. Vasily Shishkin, one of Jehovah's Witnesses, has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. Russian authorities secretly recorded his home for 2 years. Damn. The court charged him with extremist activity for peaceful Bible discussion. Here's the thing. The reason they're covering this right now, the reason they're talking about this with this guy, is because they want people to feel like they are being persecuted. That's why they're releasing this on their website, or on the TikTok, I mean. What's this realistically going to do for this guy? Nothing. It's not going to do anything for him. It's about gaining sympathy points. It's about using his tragic story to gain sympathy for themselves. That's what this is. Now, that being said, I don't believe he should be imprisoned. Absolutely not. It's certainly not for extremist activity. Do you know why why Jehovah's Witnesses were banned in Russia? I think in maybe 2017. For their shunning policy. Because they shun children. The exact same reason why they were being investigated in Europe. Because they shun children. Now, is that enough to call it an extremist group? I don't think they're an extremist group. I think they're a radical group. The difference in my mind is a radical is very out of step with general society. Like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. The abolitionist movement in the United States was radical at one point. John Brown was not only radical, but also extremist, for example. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with being radical inherently. Sometimes society is wrong. You know, in the 1980s, it was common to slip women a Mickey, quote unquote. You know, everybody did that shit in the 80s, before I was born. That it would have been radical to believe that that was wrong at the time. I don't think being radical is wrong necessarily. But I would say extremism is inherently wrong, and that comes with an element of violence, in my opinion. That's how I use the terms. Anyway, I don't think Jehovah's Witnesses are extremists. I think that they're radicals for a ridiculous bad cause, in a bad way. They're radical in a bad way. Prior to the verdict, he was under house arrest for 16 months. And forbidden to live with his wife. Wow, that sucks. I do not admit to guilt because serving God cannot be a crime. Well, it can, actually. It can be a crime. And it is a crime in some areas. And I don't think serving God was the crime in this case. I think the crime, for better or worse, I don't think that's right either, but I think the crime was being associated with Jehovah's Witnesses. Not serving God. They're different. But okay. Anyway, yeah. So it's basically like a persecution center. That's all they do is talk about how persecuted they are on these, you know, on these Instagram and TikTok videos. Let me just check here. Hang on. Let me see if I can find their TikTok. What the holy heck is this? Hold on. Jehovah's Witnesses. JW Press Room? Yes. I think this is it. Here we go. What's
On
this
the
one?
night of September 17th, 1994.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the night of September 17th, 1994, I was abducted in the middle of the night. There was a knock at the door, and soldiers pushed into our house. The guards were treating us worse than animals. For those 26 years in prison, we were tied with ropes. And
God damn, dude. 26 years. But you see another example of Jehovah's Witnesses being persecuted. That's pretty much all you're going to find on here. Just stuff about how they're mistreated all the time. You're not going to find stuff on here about how they receive something like 2.7 million euros per year from Norway just for being a religious organization and nothing else. You're not going to find stuff on here about the wins that they've had in various forms for different things. It's all going to be about how persecuted they are. They never talk about their wins to the public. They always talk about their losses. Because at the end of the day, it's propaganda. At the end of the day, they're trying to convince people that they are the poor, downtrodden underdog and that they need help.
Endured cruel treatment by the guards, extreme physical beatings, and forced labor. The soldiers took me to the wilderness and told me to dig a hole. The government has decided to execute you. They put me in the hole, and then they threatened me.
Same shit happened to Jehovah's Witnesses in Germany. As a matter of fact, I wrote a book about this recently. It's called God's People. Christian Nationalism in the Third Reich. You can find it at owenmorgan.com/God's People on Amazon and Audible if you want the audiobook. Anyway, I'm sorry, if you want the audiobook. Anyway, the fascinating thing about this is that the story that they tell about themselves in World War II, that's a legitimate story, right? They really did suffer in World War II, genuinely. But they don't tell the story of Jehovah's Witnesses who suffered and then signed the renouncement document, the Erklärung, the document that basically says, I renounce all affiliation with Jehovah's Witnesses to stop the torture. They don't tell those people's stories. They only tell the stories of Jehovah's Witnesses who endured months of torture and didn't break. Every time they tell the story of someone who did break, they give them a first name and a middle and a last initial. Anna Marie B, Erwin Z, things like that. And it is exclusively on the lines of who remained a part of the organization afterward, like who stayed in. This is the story of people who genuinely suffered terribly, of Jehovah's Witnesses who suffered terribly. And they're erasing them from history because they left the religion. It's vile. Like if this guy on screen here had told the people he wasn't a Jehovah's Witness anymore to end the literal torture, he wouldn't be in this video anymore. He wouldn't be part of this story.
Told them.
Let me step back here. Hang on.
They threatened me. I told them, if you want to put me to death, you can go ahead and do it.
Though I am free, my heart remains with those unjustly imprisoned. Eritrea continue to imprison, torture, and let die
Eritrea, interesting.
those who simply want to worship in peace. No human should suffer simply for their faith.
Yeah. So it's all persecution. What I call persecution porn. That's what it is. It's persecution porn. What's this? Pictures? I didn't know you could put pictures on TikTok. Norway's Supreme Court rules to protect every citizen's right to believe. After a 3-year legal battle, Norway's highest court ruled that deregistering Jehovah's Witnesses violated national and international law. That's not what was happening. In Norway, they always had a right to believe. Every citizen's right to believe. You were never being stopped from believing. The thing that they were being, or the thing that was happening at the time was they have instructed people to shun their own children. And in response, Norway said, stop telling people to stop their children, stop telling people to shun their children at 10 years old and pass them off to a family member so you don't have to deal with them anymore. Or we're going to remove your status as a religion, which means you don't get the money that comes with it. Because yes, Norway pays religions proportionate to their population. They give them like, I think Jehovah's Witnesses get $2.7 million for the tens of thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses that live in Norway. The Catholic Church gets millions and millions, maybe billions, I don't know, from Norway. Because Norway believes that religion is a good thing, and so they'll like do whatever it takes to support religion, I guess. Even though some of those religions are toxic, like Jehovah's Witnesses, like Mormonism, like Scientology. Anyway, Jehovah's Witnesses were never being prevented from believing. They were, at best, being prevented from receiving government funds. But that block was lifted. I mean, even when they get a win, they frame it as them being persecuted. Norway's Supreme Court rules to protect every citizen's right to believe. After a 3-year legal battle, Norway's highest court ruled that deregistering Jehovah's Witnesses violated national and international law. They're correct that the highest court decided that. But they were never stopped from believing. They were never stopped from practicing. They could still go to the Kingdom Hall and worship just like they did before. They just didn't receive government money anymore, was the difference. The Supreme Court determined that the state interfered with religious freedom. Religious freedom means you have the right to receive money from the state. What? And you have the right to shun children? More than 700 religious groups in Norway received state grants and legal protections. I would love it if this stupid play icon was not over. There we go, it's gone. In 2022, Norway stripped only Jehovah's Witnesses of grants and protections. That's not true. They stripped a bunch of other religions as well. I forget who now. More than 12,000 men and women were affected. How? How were these men and women affected? In what way were they affected? They weren't. Jehovah's Witnesses were affected. Like the organization. They got 2.7 million euros fewer every year. That's how they were affected. Jehovah's Witnesses were not affected. The organization was affected. They are like so dirty, dude. The shit that they say is so dirty, genuinely. A resounding victory. The decision is final and cannot be appealed. The government has to pay 1.2 million in legal costs, and I think it's 2.7 million in unlawfully withheld grants. If a government targets one religion with impunity, every religion is at risk. Yes. Yes, except for the fact that you were genuinely violating people's human rights. Like, still are, currently. You don't have the right to state money if you're violating human rights, in my opinion. Anyway. Yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments. This is very clearly an example of Jehovah's Witnesses pretending to be persecuted and mistreated and all of that. As usual. All right, let's see here. Hang on. Jehovah's Witness. JW TikTok. Awesome. All right. What's this one? Hold on.
Federal spending is on. We've been doing all that. And then we're going to lead up to what we have to do and address. The largest spending items, the reason we're in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That's your entitlement programs like...
Yeah, you know, like
Medicare, Medicaid, and then things like Social Security.
Yeah, you know why those are entitlement programs? Because I'm entitled to it. Because I pay into that. Like, it's a separate fund. It's not normal tax dollars. That's, what is it now, 15.3%? That people directly pay into so that you'll have Social Security when you retire and Medicare and Medicaid and everything else. That's a trust fund. You're entitled to that. And it can't be taken away. They're trying to, like, steal money from us when they say things like this. Anyway, let me see if I can find. Hold on. Candace. Oop. Let me look up Candace Taylor. Is this her official channel? 4 years ago? This doesn't seem right. There's got to be a more recent Candace Taylor, right? Candace Taylor's... All right, let me see if I can find Candace Taylor's YouTube or Rumble or whatever it is. And I wanted to find... Forrest Valkai was telling me... Let me find it. What's this? He posted this link to me.
This is the cringiest thing to happen this weekend, and it took place in Florida, so that's really saying something.
Oh my God.
When the night has come, yeah.
I don't think I can play this on air. It's copyright.
And the land is dark.
This weekend, Donald Trump made an appearance at a fundraiser for the Palm Beach County Republican Party. After being praised, he was assaulted by what looked like every HGTV host ever. Singer Bo Davidson serenaded Trump.
Bo Davidson, that's his name. Let's see. This D-Day, remember how blessed we are. June 6th, yeah. That was that's when they stormed Normandy Beach, June 6th, 1945. Or 1944, I'm sorry.
My fondest memory of World War II was the day when victory was declared over the Axis.
We are blessed to live in freedom.
Okay, that's terrible.
Blessed to live in peace.
He's absolutely awful, dude. What's this? Stephen Meyer?
I'm joined by Dr. Stephen Meyer, geophysicist, PhD, director of the Discovery Institute's Center for Science and Culture, and writer of the brand new documentary, The Story of Everything, which premieres this week in theaters nationwide.
Strange. There's options to rest. Price. What?
Holy shit, dude. Just get to it. Damn. Stephen Meyer. I know him. Where do I know him from? Who is this guy? Stephen Meyer.
People have an inner curiosity about the story of everything, of how we got here. But for the better part of a century, many scientists have tried to explain it with a mindless, purposeless process over time. However, it seems that advances in science are actually moving toward intelligent design, not away from it.
Okay, let's talk about this real fast. Dude on the left here is named Bo Davidson. You may recognize him as the guy in Forrest Valkai's video on like Gramps or whatever. You remember that Gramps guy from Forrest Channel who made a movie about Forrest, a full-blown movie? This guy played Forrest Valkai in that movie. In that movie, he was named Trey or something. Anyway, this guy knows Donald Trump personally. He's saying for him or whatever. Listen to him talk to this Stephen Meyer guy, who I believe is Discovery Institute, right-wing, Christian nationalist, young earth creationist type of person. Let's see what they have to say here.
The story of everything, of how we got here.
Sorry, hold on.
But what does one do about it?
Dr. Meyer, thank you so much for joining me. You know, most people have an inner curiosity about the story of everything, of how we got here. But for the better part of a century, many scientists have tried to explain it with a mindless, purposeless process over time. However...
Okay, we haven't tried to describe it that way. That's just the reality of it. If you want to say that, like, God came in and did that, okay, that's fine with me. I couldn't possibly care less. Literally impossible for me to care less, if that's what you want to do. But we don't need that. We can explain it with natural processes.
It seems that advances in science are actually moving toward intelligent design.
No, they're not. They're not moving toward intelligent design. They were never moving toward intelligent design. That was debunked in the early 2000s.
Away from it. So explain it with a mindless, purposeless process over time. However, it seems that advances in science are actually moving toward intelligent design, not away from it. So what new discoveries have been made that indicate that you display in your film?
This is going to be good.
Yeah, that's a great question, Bo. Thanks for having me on. The film is actually the story of 3 great discoveries that are leading scientists to reconsider and even reaffirm belief in God because of not.
No. Again, you can believe in God, and that's perfectly fine, but that has no bearing on science and the scientific proof that we have for things. We just, like, evolution is real. It's just a fact. That is just what it is. I'm sorry. And again, like, some crazy high number or some crazy high percentage of Christians accept evolution as the fact that it is. They just think that God kind of sparked it into existence and guided it. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's this tiny subset of nutcases who absolutely insist and make it their life's work to prove that, like, the Earth is 6,000 years old, that the universe is 6,000 years old. That, I mean, even though there are literal trees older than that. I mean, it's genuinely insane.
In spite of the scientific evidence. And the first story of discovery we tell is the story of how scientists determined that the universe, as best we can tell, had a definite beginning. Prior to the middle of the last century, many scientists assumed that the universe was eternal and self-existent, that it had always been here, and therefore didn't need an external creator.
That's correct. It doesn't. It does not need an external creator. The whole system works without one.
And starting in the 19-teens and 20s, and then right up to the present, there have been a series of discoveries showing that the universe had a beginning. And that suggests the need for an external cause or creator. And when
No, it does not suggest that at all. And you know what? Even if it did, it doesn't matter, because your interpretation, your whole subset of beliefs that come along with it, definitely are not justified.
When people, when philosophers and scientists think deeply about, well, what kind of a cause could explain the origin of the universe, the origin of matter, space, time, and energy.
All kinds of shit. The real answer, though, is I don't know. That's the real, honest answer. I don't know. And claiming otherwise is disingenuous.
It's not a materialistic cause. It's matter that comes into existence at the beginning. So it must be something that transcends matter and energy, and it is outside of space and time, and yet is volitional, capable of initiating a change of state from everything to nothing. So that's
all these concepts about being outside of space and time and everything else. All this stuff came about after we discovered the Big Bang and stuff like that. He's superimposing anachronistically onto our existing system.
the first big discovery. The universe had a beginning. The second big discovery is that from the very beginning, the universe has, as the physicists say, been finely tuned to allow for the possibility of life.
Physicists say it's been finely tuned? What? No, creationists. Young Earth creationists say it's been finely tuned. Physicists don't say anything about that. You know why? There's the puddle analogy. If you guys have ever heard this before, bear with me. The puddle analogy was written by the dude who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What was his name? I forget now. Anyway, it's a kind of a, not a poem, but like a, hang on. Let me just read it. Douglas Adams. This is an interesting world I find myself in, an interesting hole I find myself in. Fits me rather neatly, doesn't it? As though a puddle is speaking. In fact, it fits me staggeringly well. Must have been made to have me in it. The point is that, yes, obviously it looks fine-tuned to our environment. We couldn't live somewhere that wasn't perfectly exactly right. If we lived in a universe that couldn't sustain life, that would be proof right there. But we live in a universe that does sustain life. So it's not surprising to find that life exists here.
Physicists say, been finely tuned to allow for the possibility of life.
Nobody says that.
Many physicists now talk about our living in a Goldilocks universe where the fundamental forces of physics, the masses of the elementary particles, the force that is pushing the universe outward, and many other fundamental parameters of physics fall within very narrow sweet spots or ranges outside of which life itself would be impossible. Even basic chemistry would be impossible.
I mean, think about what he's saying here. Imagine with me for a second. Imagine a bacteria in the bottom of the ocean next to hot water vents saying, this area is perfectly finely tuned to sustain my life. These hot vents, if they didn't exist, then I wouldn't exist. It must be divine intervention. No, that's not how it works. Life exists where it exists, and that's what it is. Again, I don't have a problem with Christianity, with religion at all. I have a problem with these young earth creationist nutcases who are obsessed with controlling the books in the classrooms that our children attend. They're obsessed with controlling scientific progress.
And the collective improbability of all these different parameters falling in those sweet spots is infinitesimally small.
But you know what the chances of us existing in an environment in which we could exist versus the chance that we exist in an environment in which we couldn't exist? 100%.
It looks like the universe was a setup job. In fact, one of the physicists who discovered this, who was previously a scientific atheist, Sir Fred Hoyle, said that a common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super intellect is monkeyed with physics to make life possible. And the third discovery is is a whole series of discoveries really about the interior of the living cell. Over the last half century and all the way back to the 1950s, scientists have been discovering that inside living cells, there's a whole exquisite realm of digital technology, information that's stored in the DNA molecule, and additionally, little miniature machines that the DNA molecule, the production of which the DNA molecule is responsible for.
No. People love to say that it's a code. Because it is a little bit, code is a good analogy, but it's not reality. DNA is not a code like a programming language. And it's not a little machine in the same way. People who say that don't seem to really fully understand what that means exactly. They don't understand what DNA really is. Oh my God.
And so inside the living cell, instead of being a simple glob of plasm, as scientists thought in the late 19th century.
Plasm? Glob of plasm? What the hell is plasm?
We've discovered that the cell is an exquisite realm of digital and nanotechnology. There's an information storage, transmission, and processing system inside every living cell of every living organism.
He's using analogy again. An analogy, this is like runaway analogy. He's arguing by analogy, and it's kind of falling flat because he doesn't know what he's talking about, really.
And everything we know about the origin of information, think about software, is that it always comes from a mind, not an undirected material process. So many scientists are also now considering the design hypothesis or the intelligent design idea as a better explanation for the origin of life, as opposed to evolutionary ideas about how mindless chemicals organize themselves into the first cells. So the universe had a beginning. It's been fine-tuned since the beginning, and long after the beginning, life arises. And when it arises, it exhibits an exquisite realm of information and nanotechnology. And all these things are, I think, pointing to what I call the return of the God hypothesis.
No, there is no quote-unquote return of the God hypothesis. Get help. Okay? Science is science, and religion is religion. And that's fine. You know, you want to believe in this? I am perfectly fine with that, genuinely. But don't try to shoehorn this into science.
Well, you know, in the film, Doctor, you mentioned several scientists who had theories that they themselves ended up disproving. Einstein, for instance, thought the universe was static. Sandage came around to a theistic viewpoint. Jastrow could not imagine a naturalistic cause for the universe.
Okay. So you just listed one scientist coming up with like different ideas and just like learning things as he went, and then two others who just believed in God. Okay, so what does that prove?
Dean Kenyon found problems in his own biochemical predestination theory. Many of these scientists had what you might even call a religious conversion.
No, so there is not this mass religious conversion of scientists, please.
What does that say about scientific bias, or is it simply that their discoveries revealed a truth that they could not ignore?
Well, I think it's the latter, but there has been a bias as well. Since the late 19th century, a kind of rule of reasoning or rule of method became normative in the sciences. And the idea was that if you're going to be a scientist, you must limit yourself to strictly materialistic explanations.
Yeah, obviously. Are you kidding me? Are you saying you want scientists like looking at events that they see unfold and say, must have been demons? That must have been demons. It's not that, you know, I mixed these two chemicals together and ended up with this new third chemical. It's that God made it happen. How does that get us further in literally anything? How does that improve anything? Our understanding of whatever? It doesn't. It's worthless. You want to believe in God? That is fine. But the lab has to be confined to what we understand about the world. And you know what? There has never been a single supernatural event. You know, people using psionic power or whatever over lab experiments. That has never happened, ever. No one has ever used tarot cards to actually tell somebody's future reliably. That has never, ever happened. Not one time in human history. The moment it does, it's not going to be supernatural anymore. It's just going to get worked into science as how things operate. Yes, I hope that scientists refuse to use supernatural explanations in the lab. Are you kidding me? How would that even work?
For everything. Well, that science sounds kind of reasonable because we study the material or the natural world, but it's possible that features of the natural world were the product of a creative intelligence as well as or undirected materialistic processes.
Yes, it's possible. It is possible that the world is the result of a mind guiding things in a certain direction. Absolutely. It is not possible, however, that the world is 6,000 years old and that Noah's Ark was a real literal story rather than rather than antiquity literature, which is just like origin literature that existed back then. It's possible that God guided all of this 100%. But all the stuff you're adding on top of it is nonsense.
And so we've been arguing that scientists need to be, when they're investigating origins, they need to be open to both possibilities. And if you rule one possibility out of court from the outset, the idea that creative intelligence played a role in developing, for example, the digital code in DNA, you might be terminally barking up the wrong tree, always looking.
Well, the problem is that we've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that DNA could form without any of that stuff, without any of those assumptions. We don't need these assumptions. It's not like we can't figure this out and we're just lost and we're refusing to look at an obvious explanation. We have the explanation. We know how this works. And it's not your understanding of it. The bacterium around those heat vents are just sitting at tiny tables saying, this is fine, right? Well, it is fine for them, of course. They're having a good old time. Alpha Force Zero's cousin used to have, as his description on Instagram, it used to say, just a country boy having a good old time. And it's so cringy, so painfully stupid, that every now and then I use that, just ironically. So these bacterium sitting around vents, just country boys having a good old time, right?
For the wrong kind of answer when the right kind of answer is staring you in the face. If you go to the museum in London, the British Museum, and you encounter the Rosetta Stone, you'll see inscriptions carved in rock. If you apply that rule of we must explain everything materialistically, you'll miss the actual explanation. Those inscriptions didn't come about through wind and erosion. They came about through the activity of an intelligent scribe.
Well, see, there's the problem. We did follow the logical answers to all of this stuff. The logical answer is that it changed over time. And you claiming that there is a different logical answer is backed up by absolutely nothing.
Ultimately resulted in the idea of from a mind. So there are certain features of our experience that always arise from intelligent agents. And when we find those in the living world or in the universe itself, it's reasonable to infer that the universe and life also had an intelligent source. And that's one of the key arguments of the film. And that's one of the reasons that the scientists that you mentioned have either changed their minds and become theists, or have changed their minds and become a lot more diffident about their previous theories.
Yeah. That didn't happen. Get help, please. Scientists are not changing their minds en masse about the origins of the universe. No serious scientist believes that the universe is 6,000 years old. Not one single trustworthy scientist believes that. And almost no scientists believe it at all.
I found that fascinating. And even many astronauts, like let's take Reed Wiseman from Artemis 2, for example, have a theistic epiphany when they look back at our pale blue dot in all of its complex majesty. Why do you think, Dr. Meyer, that people here on Earth can't or don't look at the complex beauty around us in our own visible world and have a similar epiphany?
Well, I think sometimes it takes getting out into space to see just how special our planet is. And that's been a consistent experience of astronauts going back to Apollo 8 in the 1960s. 1968, the astronauts read the Genesis creation account from space. They were just so moved by what they had seen. The current head of NASA, Jared Isaacman, has said that his time in space convinced him of, quote, the heavens declare the glory of God. So there is something about having that God's eye view of Earth that makes you realize our planet is very special. The science supports that. There are numerous fine-tuning parameters that have to be just right to establish a life-friendly planet in a life-friendly solar system in just the right place in a life-friendly galaxy.
These people are ridiculous, honestly. None of this stuff proves that we're 6,000 years old. Literally none of it.
The collective probability of that is extremely small.
And what's the probability that humans would exist in an environment in which they couldn't exist? 0. What is that probability compared to the probability that we do exist? I mean, really think about this. This is absurd. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are, like, shameless. All right, let's continue. I would like to watch more of it. I may have to clip it there.
And it suggests that there was a design behind it all.
Does not suggest that.
But I think people generally, since the late 19th century, have assumed that science properly understood supports a materialistic or atheistic worldview. And the discoveries that we're talking about in the film show that that's not right. In fact, the assumption has been that science supports this materialistic worldview, and we're showing that the most important contemporary discoveries about the origin of the universe, the structure of the universe, and the origin and nature of life all better support the idea of theistic design, that there was a...
Absolutely not. Our universe can be explained without that. And you sticking that in there adds complexity and confusion that wasn't there before and that doesn't need to be there. And at the end of the day, you know what he's doing? He's just cutting off a line of research. He's just removing a line of research. Like, people can no longer, or people no longer have a reason to research or discover or learn more about this because the answer is right there. That's it. You're done. No more further reading required. Should we try to find the answers to the best of our ability or not?
Transcendent intelligence that is also active in the creation, not a deistic God, not a space alien, but an intelligence that has the attributes that traditional theists have long ascribed to God: transcendence, intelligence, volition, and being active in the creation.
Well, Dr. Meyer, I do want to make this current too. I was in a film recently that was released recently.
Oh shit! It's the Gramps dude. What the hell's his name? I don't remember. It was Forrest Valkai's movie that was about him, and this guy played Forrest Valkai. That is really funny.
In which I portray a real-life atheistic podcaster and teacher of evolution who debates an unassuming Christian grandpa. And I want to play a quick clip of that.
Sure.
Oh my God.
Macroevolution is the goo to you via the zoo theory that all life started out as one-celled organisms and progressed through millions of years through gradual, non-directed mutations to the DNA, which proved to be advantageous to survival.
Really? Well, no wonder you'd have a problem with that. I would have a problem with evolution based on that definition. Evolution is so much more complex than just mutation selection. First of all, microevolution demonstrates the process that leads to macroevolution. And there's lots of other changes that are involved than just mutation selection.
So on the right, the dude is supposed to be Forrest Valkai. They're making fun of Forrest with this. And so far, actually, what he said so far is correct, I believe.
And there's lots of other changes that are involved than just mutation selection. Are you familiar with the term epigenetics?
No.
Okay, how about alleles?
No.
Okay, I thought so. Well, without any changes to the DNA sequencing, epigenetic expression changes lead to new functionality in the phenotype containing that DNA.
Okay, so he's saying that, like, Forrest was trying to explain things to him and it was being way too complicated and, like, not dumbing it down for him, I guess. These are complex terms, truly. Like, if you don't know these terms, I don't blame you at all. The only reason I know these terms is because I'm immersed in this 24/7. But none of this... but you can look this information up. Like, this is not closed off. Only scientists know what an allele is. You can just read about it.
And the natural stressors also lead to such alterations. Without such knowledge, Douglas, you're not equipped to just go poking holes in any scientific theory. And there's lots of Christians out there who accept both God and evolution. The two don't have to be mutually exclusive.
That's absolutely true. Catholics accept evolution, for example.
Oh, I personally find the idea of God in heaven to be repulsive.
Well,
Forrest actually said that. He said he finds the idea of heaven repulsive. I don't. I would love to live forever. That would be awesome. You know, I don't think that's going to happen. You know what? If it's anything like Jehovah's Witnesses' beliefs, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that there will be a resurrection of the righteous and the unrighteous. As long as you're not an evil person, you're going to make it in. And I'm not. I don't consider myself an evil person at all. So, hey, who knows, right?
Richard Dawkins did say one thing that I agree with. He said that the Bible, the God of the Bible, and macroevolution are not compatible. They can't coexist.
Did he say that? I've never heard that before.
So my character is based upon biologist Forrest Valkai, aka the renegade science teacher on YouTube, who spends lots of his time, Doctor, roasting creationist films.
Oh, that's funny.
Does the story of everything and the discoveries inside it provide ample and empirical counters to skeptics like Valkai?
Well, we don't. The film only has a portion of a third act that's addressing Darwinian evolution. It addresses much more directly the question of chemical evolution, the idea that undirected chemical reactions have produced the first cell. We do address the question of whether or not Darwinian evolution can explain the origin of the molecular machinery inside life. But my second book, Darwin's Doubt, takes on all those different counter arguments that the rather smug, I suppose he was played a teacher, was making. First of all,
playing a teacher. He actually is a teacher. Forrest is a teacher. He's not playing one. That's really funny, though. I love that.
He referred to epigenetics. That's a buzzword that can mean lots of different things. But
yeah, that's why Forrest didn't say it. Okay, that was made up for the movie. You realize that, right?
It essentially refers to the fact that in addition to the information that's in DNA, there is information encoded in other ways in other structures within living systems. And that actually poses a formidable problem to the neo-Darwinian explanation of the origin.
No, it doesn't.
Of life. In particular, it shows that you could mutate DNA indefinitely, and even if you overcame the long odds of developing a new protein or protein fold, which is itself highly indubitable.
Highly indubitable? You mean highly dubious? Indubitably means without a doubt. Is that what you meant? Did you mean to say indubitably?
A new protein or protein fold, which is itself highly dubitable.
Okay, whatever.
You would never build the higher level structures that are necessary to build body plans. And so the presence of information at higher levels is actually a challenge to that. Yep.
Dude, is he like interrupting that guy? That's really annoying, first of all. And second, we understand how body plans work. They're called Hox genes. We can edit the Hox genes on flies and make arms grow out of their eyes.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dr. Meyer.
So epigenetic or ontogenetic information is actually a challenge to that. Now, he also refers to other evolutionary processes such as natural genetic engineering, the idea that organisms can respond to environmental cues, that mutations are not always random. That's absolutely true, and it's something that's been established by the University of Chicago cell biologist James Shapiro. But the rub there is that Shapiro shows that that organisms have a kind of pre-programmed adaptive capacity, and that many mutations are under a kind of algorithmic control, so that when there's an environmental change, it will trigger an adaptive response with certain genes being turned on and others being turned off. That's great biology, and it is certainly non-neo-Darwinian, but
the idea that genes can be turned on or off is not neo-Darwinian. I don't even know what he means by that when he says that.
Genetic engineering as a theory never explains where the pre-programming came from, and that's where we think there's a
yes, it does. We have like 1 billion fossils that we can look at and tell exactly where all of these traits came from and how long they've been there and all that stuff.
Locus of design, that there's evidence of intelligent design in the very process that he and your character are playing. So there's very good answers to all of the challenges that your character was offering to what was, I'm sure, being portrayed as this rather simplistic Christian raising questions about evolutionary theory. Many evolutionary biologists are now calling for a new theory of evolution. And I attended a conference in 2016 at the Royal Society in London, where many of those biologists had convened. At the end of the conference, and they enumerated numerous problems with the textbook version of evolutionary theory that we all learn.
The textbook version of evolutionary theory that we all learn. And what is that textbook definition? What would the problems be with such a thing? Look, films take on macro evolution.
But they were also trying to compensate for what they perceived as a lack of creative power associated with the mutation natural selection mechanism. These other mechanisms that your character was citing themselves, however, lack creative power. And this is something that's been demonstrated in a lot of other critiques of these newer theories of evolution, including 2 chapters in my own book, Darwin's Doubt, where I dealt with 7 or 8 of these new non-neo-Darwinian theories of evolution. The bottom line there is that they all either presuppose unexplained sources of genetic and other types of biological information, or they posit processes that clearly do not generate information and therefore have no basis for explaining where a new biological form comes from. So as smug as your character was, there's
I hope he realizes that Forrest is not smug. It was the character, right? Does he realize that it was the guy he's talking to, the young Earth creationist he's talking to right now, who was acting smug?
There's very good answers to the objections that he was raising.
Yeah, and it just seems like
but he wasn't raising those objections. That was made up by like the Christian grandpa or whatever the hell his name was.
That you get this simplistic Christian viewpoint versus this very detailed, Darwinian account, and the two are always kind of diametrically opposed. It is interesting in the film how things turn out, and I hope people will watch it. But you mentioned about there being a fine-tuning to the universe, but also one step further, a fine-tuning for discovery. And I was wondering if you would explain that, meaning it looked to me like the creator, if it's intelligent design, is almost laying out the framework for us to make discoveries about how things began.
Well, this is the argument of a wonderful book called Privileged Planet that was written by astronomer Guillermo Gonzalez and philosopher Jay Richards. And they argued that not only are there numerous fine-tuning parameters at the cosmological level that are necessary to establish stable galaxies and planetary systems, but beyond that, there are numerous fine-tuning parameters that are necessary to make a stable or a life-friendly planet such as ours. And again, the collective probability of all of those parameters being just right is infinitesimally small.
You don't know what the chances are that those parameters would be correct. There could be a billion universes out there with all kinds of different configurations, different constants, and whatever. Some may collapse in on themselves, and some may become more stable, but not quite have the right values tweaked for life. And is it really any surprise that we find ourselves in a world in which we can live? Really? I mean, it would be a surprise if we were in a world where we couldn't live. That would be evidence, right? But that's not what's happening. That's not how it played out. This dude is an absolute joke. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are so cringy. Actually, it has 3 minutes left. Let's keep going.
You have to have the right axial tilt of the planet. The planet has to be the right distance from the right sized host star.
Is it weird that we don't live on Mars? We weren't born on Mars? Because Mars doesn't have any of those things, which means it's not equipped to sustain life. And weirdly, we don't find ourselves there. How about that?
To have the right overall gravitational mass to hold just the right kind of gases, atmospheric gases, so that you have the right kind of atmosphere. You need the right kind of magnetic field to protect the planet from harmful solar radiation, and on and on and on it goes. It turns out, though, and this was the curious thing that they argued in their book, or noticed in the book, that the same ensemble of parameters that make life for a life-friendly planet also have made Earth a planet that is uniquely situated to make fundamental discoveries about the universe and basic physics. And so they argue that there's this sort of weird conversion. The two things from
Wait, who is they? They argue this? There's some weird conversion? Or convergence, I'm sorry. There's some weird convergence. Is that what he said?
So they argue that there's this sort of weird conversion. The two things from a physical...
Wait, he said conversion. You mean convergence. This guy doesn't word well.
Standpoint have nothing to do with each other, and yet there's this convergence of parameters that ensure that both outcomes are simultaneously instantiated or developed. And so they argue that this is clear evidence of design, and their argument is that not only was the Earth designed to be habitable, it was designed to be a fit platform for scientific discovery.
But it doesn't need to be designed. It can just be. You are adding all of that additional designed stuff.
In other words, the designer wants his creation to be known and understood by the people that he's placed on this unique planet, to enjoy the planet and also to enjoy what he's made.
Yeah, after just seeing the Dead Sea Scrolls exhibit at the Museum of the Bible, I kind of had a similar feel to that. And now seeing your film, I think it just illuminates so much more. Well, Dr. Meyer, where can people go to get tickets for the film? I want to make sure people understand how they can get tickets, because it's in a number of theaters this week, and also more information about you and your pursuit and continued illumination.
Okay, anyway, it looks like that's the end. That is wild, dude. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. Absurd. All right, cool. Let's see. America Remembers, a Memorial Day special. What is this? Blessed live at Celebrate Freedom at Marty B's, Texas. Gold Star mom Karen Vaughn. Mother's Day special. Bo Davidson is the voice of Jesus in Rose the series. What's this?
Wait, is this it? Am I dead? Oh.
Rose, you aren't dead. You were in an accident.
Okay, that's terrible. That is absolutely awful. Shalom Aleichem with English and Hebrew subtitles. Okay. All right, let's check this out. See what this is.
I Can Only Imagine 2 has opened in theaters and is the sequel to the previous smash hit, I Can Only Imagine, based on the song written by Bart Millard of the Christian music group Mercy Me. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Mercy. I'm jumping past the trailer. I don't care.
Bart Millard. Bart, it is a blessing to have you on today.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, Bart, this movie picks up where the original movie left off. You're a major star, but things are not so bright at home. Your son has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. You have writer's block. It puts a strain on your marriage, and you feel the compulsion to go back on the road. If you would, Bart, talk about that particular moment in your life.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was pressures from both sides. I mean, sometimes there is an internal pressure of trying to follow up a hit like I Can Only Imagine, and so there was a struggle in that. And then at the height of our success,
I don't know what I Can Only Imagine is.
You know, my son is diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and so there was, you know, the home life was hard, man. Like
My cat has diabetes, and I know it's different from a human having diabetes. I'm sure of that, but it's not like he got cancer. This is a very survivable condition. I'm not sure why he's acting like this is so hard on him. Hard on the son, I can see that. I don't understand why he seems to think this is his problem, though.
The struggle with the chronic illness that never goes away, and just trying to keep your kid alive, and it's your first.
All right, let me just jump to another one. Let's see here. What's this? The road to the Kennedy Center honors Give Thanks with a Grateful Heart. Give Thanks Thanksgiving TV special and performance. Give Thanks. Bo Davidson interviews Representative Byron Donalds. What's this?
Absolutely, Steve. Yeah, I do think this is the next governor of Florida sitting to my side here. Congressman, Florida's been an outlier and an example for many other states to follow, specifically when it comes to parental rights. How did Florida become a haven for the nuclear family unit?
Well, Florida has always been a state that stood for the family and for parents to be at the head of the table. Even when we were a purple state and we're battling the left and battling the Democrats in Tallahassee, the push was always for school choice. The push was always for the different tax credit scholarships at the time to give parents opportunities. When I was in the legislature, I passed the first bill of its kind in the country that gave parents the ability to examine all instructional materials that were in front of their children. Rick Scott was governor when that was signed into law. And then when Governor DeSantis came in, and this is one of the key things he did in his administration, when he picked 3 new Supreme Court justices in the state of Florida, making it a more conservative-leaning court, then that's when we went to full universal choice in our state, Parents' Bill of Rights. My former colleague, Senator Erin Grall, she was a champion of that when she was in the State House, now a state senator. And you've had so many people who have always stood behind this common principle that parents are the ones who should be dictating what goes on in the lives of their kids. Florida's not going to stop. We're going to continue to make sure parents are at the head of the table.
Yeah, they've certainly been a paradigm.
See, the problem with this is that it's never been about parents' rights in reality. These people have always been obsessed with controlling other people's children, with controlling the way that children are taught and the things that they're taught. I mean, when they say parents' rights, what they really mean is they want to force, intelligent design to be taught in schools instead of evolution, for example, that kind of thing.
For sure. Well, you're running for governor now, a position I feel like you were primed for a long time ago, even from the day that I met you. Tell me how a 17-year-old boy who came to the Sunshine State on a Greyhound bus may achieve the highest office in the state.
Wow, when you ask it like that, it really is a mouthful. Honestly, Florida's a meritocracy. And I think in our state, we always respect the hard work of people, no matter what they're doing in their walk of life. That's why more people are coming to our state. That's why we're in the position where California used to be, where now what happens in Florida dictates the policy and the political culture and the culture overall of where the rest of the United States is going. And so, honestly, it was a lot of hard work, the grace of God, my wife and my kids having a strong family unit at home back in Naples, Florida, the tutelage that my mother gave me before I came to Florida, and then just being blessed to be in a community where people decide.
Hang on, let me just let's see. Yeah, this starts to pick up. This one isn't terribly interesting, so let's take a look at some of his other stuff here. Let's see. Some of the other stuff. What's he got going on? Fruits of our labor, a Labor Day special. Sky News, Trump delivers pizzas and hamburgers to National Guard. I remember that. What's this?
Well, it is D-Day for the Russia-Ukraine war, the day Donald Trump set as a deadline for a ceasefire. The Kremlin has overnight confirmed US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have agreed to hold an in-person meeting in the coming days. And here was Trump speaking overnight.
They would like to meet with me, and I'll do whatever I can to stop the killing. So last month, they lost 14,000 people killed. Last month.
Now, this comes hours after US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Putin in Moscow, Trump describing it as a highly productive meeting where great progress was made. Joining me now for more on this is Sky News contributor Bo Davidson. Bo, thank you for joining me.
Dude,
look,
the audio on this video is absolutely terrible.
If Trump can pull this off, what will it mean? And should he get the Nobel Peace Prize if he indeed is able to?
Okay, this guy looks like he's dropped some Rohypnol into women's drinks in his lifetime a couple of times, right? That's the type of person he looks like to me.
To bring peace to this long-running war.
Well, Danica, I think it will mean that he will be the most consequential president of our lifetime. I think this has been kind of ramping up now for a while that would be said. Ronald Reagan famously said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And I think that what Donald Trump is saying is, Mr. Putin, tear down this endless, senseless war. People are dying by the day, by the droves, and it's got to stop. That's what kind of moment this is. So, yes, of course he deserves the Nobel Prize, but he's been ramping up that for a while.
Bro, please. Did you just say that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? Really? What an embarrassing joke, dude. It's so painfully stupid.
While he de-escalated India, Pakistan, Thailand, Cambodia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and the Congo, and the big one, Israel and Iran. So this could be his biggest one yet. It would be the first meeting between a U.S. president and Vladimir Putin since, I think, about 2021. But let's also be sober about this. You know, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said there's still a lot of things that have to happen before this meeting can take place. But the tariffs go into effect, as you said, and the heat is on Putin. He can do this the easy way or he can do it the hard way. But he's got to make a decision for his people. And I just, Danica, find it ironic that Democrats would have made up this entire story to say that Russia helped Donald Trump become president so that what? He could put pressure on their president to stop their war?
Well, no, this isn't up for debate. Russia absolutely assisted in getting Trump elected because Trump would be easier on Putin than Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden or whatever. He 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, investigations and everything, definitely helped Donald Trump get elected.
I don't think so. I think that Donald Trump has been made and prepared for a time such as this, and I can't see any other leader at this particular point in time who's better suited to adjust this and to make peace happen in this region.
Really? There isn't anybody better that can help peace happen in the Middle East, I think is what he's saying, right? Or literally anywhere, or was he talking about Ukraine? There's no way he believes that, right?
Yes, well, the Democrats are continuing there with their delusions, but you're right. I mean, if he can pull this off, this would be an incredible moment, not just
And did he pull it off? No?
for America, but also for the world as well. So stay tuned. We'll be watching very closely. Now, Donald Trump's higher import taxes on dozens of countries have just come into effect. Some are even going as high as 50%. But obviously, I mean, countries around the world are scrambling now to respond to this. Here in Australia, our base rate remains at 10%. But what has actually been the impact locally in the US? Has this plan been a success, or are there industries suffering?
Well, you mentioned, some are as high as 50%. I think India got 25% and another 25% for purchasing Russia oil, which is a topic we just mentioned. Tariffs have always been a negotiating tactic for Donald Trump. They're designed to generate investment.
Really? They've been a negotiating tactic. Tariffs have completely destroyed the U.S. economy. I hope he's happy with that. And on top of that, they didn't actually do anything productive for us. They didn't get us anywhere. And they were overruled by the courts. He doesn't have the right to do that, to like unilaterally place tariffs. So what was actually accomplished here? What did he get done? Did he use them as a negotiating tactic successfully? They shouldn't be a negotiating tactic anyway. Wait, why can't I? Why is it not letting me? Okay, I think this is broken. That was weird. It wouldn't let me go forward.
To boost growth, to boost jobs, to boost employment. I think that's what...
Yeah, if you want tariffs to boost growth, jobs, and employment, then you have to set up the conditions for that to take place. You can't just place tariffs on a country like Taiwan. You can't just tariff Taiwan and their chips, or all of Taiwan, for example. You have to set aside investment funding to build a chip factory here in the United States. What do you think is going to happen if you just make it impossible to get chips anymore from, like, you know, computer chips from Taiwan? Well, I think one of the world's biggest exporters of computer chips. Well, chips are just going to be more expensive. That's it. That's all you get. You have to actually invest in things if that's what you want to do. Trump isn't investing in stuff. He's just placing the tariffs and walking away. How is that helping anybody?
It's always designed to do. Now, we have seen some countries retaliate. I want to mention that this has happened. Canada, for instance, has retaliated against the U.S., especially with regard to American bourbon. But that's pretty rare. Over the next several months...
That's pretty rare?
As industries react and respond to these tariffs, we could see higher prices. We just haven't seen a lot of that yet. The Trump plan over...
What? We haven't seen higher prices? They stole billions of dollars from people, and now the companies are taking that money back from the government. We're not seeing a dime of it. What are you talking about? We haven't seen higher prices.
All, of course, is to rake in all this billions of tariff revenue, which is to offset other taxes, like, for instance, an income tax, because tariffs are like taxes to us.
Well, yes, tariffs are taxes. They're not like taxes. They are taxes, but they're a regressive tax. They affect disproportionately the lower and middle class. Because at the end of the day, we all need the same stuff. I don't eat more bread than like a billionaire. He eats the same number of loaves of bread as me. He drinks the same amount of milk as I do. But I'm paying a disproportionately small percentage of my but I'm paying a disproportionately large percentage of my income on this tax, this tariff, than the billionaire is. I'm paying, 2% of my income on tariffs, and the billionaire is paying 0.00002% of his income on taxes, on the tariffs. Glad I got a pretty good GPU, GeForce RTX 3070 Ti. That is pretty good. Very nice. I have a 3090 Ti in my Windows computer. You know what I've come to find, though? Macs are much better with GPUs because they have shared memory. And I heard that NVIDIA is doing that right now. They're working on shared memory, but they're not there yet. I can't wait. I'm so glad to see the industry is moving that direction. It's going to be awesome.
So if that plan is true and we can offset something like an income tax, that would be brilliant. And also,
you can't offset the income tax. It's regressive. It's not going to bring in anywhere near as much money. It's going to cripple the U.S. government, and it's going to hurt the middle and lower class.
So we could possibly even give rebates to Americans. That's another idea that's been floated as well.
Wait, why rebates? No, yeah, it's been floated just like Doge checks have been floated. It's not happening, okay? I will bet my life that Doge checks and tariff rebates are not going to make it into the average person's home. Not happening. You know why? Because these people don't give a shit about you. That's why. They never did.
I just think that we're a little too early in this process to be able to tell. Our government does subsidize farmers. That's one way we have offset tariffs in the past, but we just have to wait and see. I'm personally going to remain optimistic about this, Danica.
Wait and see, he says. We've waited and seen. We've been waiting and seeing for a year and a half. It's not happening.
The main reason being is that when Trump initiates a tariff, usually a country freaks out and comes to the table with something better. So let's just take a pause on this because we haven't seen the economic downturn and spiral that I think a lot of people thought that there would be.
Are you kidding me? We haven't seen the economic downturn and or spiral that we thought we... Yes, we have. Yes, we have. We have seen an economic downturn as a result of all of Trump's policies. One second. Let me look this up. They haven't officially declared a recession, but the data shows real damage. 2025 marked the weakest job growth outside of a recession since 2003, with only 181,000 jobs added for the full year, compared with almost 1.5 million in 2024. Oh my God, that's bad. 181,000 jobs added compared to 1.5 million in 2024. Manufacturing lost 77,000 jobs from April to December 2025, falling sharply after Liberation Day, quote unquote, which undercuts the stated goal of boosting domestic manufacturing. That's from Center for American Progress. Regarding the tariffs, the effective tariff rate hit 7.7% in 2025, up from 2.4% in 2024, the highest in decades, amounting to an average tax increase of about $1,000 per household in 2025. On February 20th, 2026, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the IEEPA does not authorize tariffs, striking down most of them and leaving only the Section 232 sectoral tariffs in place. Trump responded with new 10% tariffs under other authority. So it's not a textbook recession. I think that's because Trump is propping up the stock market at any cost because he knows that his rich friends make money from the stock market. But every other metric is down. People are suffering terribly. People aren't buying things. People aren't donating money. It's bad in the United States. For no reason. There was no reason for any of this, by the way.
Bill Maher has acknowledged that. And let's just see kind of what happens.
What Bill Maher acknowledged? Why do I care about what Bill Maher acknowledged?
Table with something better. So let's just take a pause on this because we haven't seen the economic downturn and spiral that I think a lot of people thought that there would be.
That's nonsense. Yes, we have.
Bill Maher has acknowledged that. And let's just see kind of what happens as industries respond to this. I'm going to remain optimistic about it.
Yeah, look, fair enough. Let's see what happens. But you're right. I mean, a lot of countries have come to the negotiating table. Not Australia. Let it be known. Our Prime Minister is still yet to have a meeting with Donald Trump. We're all waiting for that one. Now, look, Bo, I've got to ask you, is America about to turn the page and be burdened again by what has been? Because former Vice President Kamala Harris has announced she's not going to run for California governor in 2026, but is not ruling out another bid for the White House in 2028. Good grief. So look, we thought we'd take us through the archives. Here we go.
The children of the community are the children of the community.
I understand Sky News, which I believe this is on, is kind of like Fox News for Australia.
Need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time. Right?
Okay, so they just like clipped a bunch of stuff from Kamala Harris out of context. Wow, that's funny. Good job, guys.
Significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present.
Like, she laughs. Doesn't everybody laugh? I don't understand this, like, line of attack from these people.
Bo.
They make her look psychotic by just splicing together a bunch of laughs. These people are so dirty, dude, really. They are so incredibly dirty.
It still sends shivers up my spine seeing that, seriously. But, you know, is America ready for possibly another round of word salads?
I'm sorry? Kamala Harris has word salad? Is that what she just said? Kamala Harris. Word salad. What?
Danica, I like caprese salad. I like wedge salad. I like Waldorf salad. But I cannot stomach another Kamala Harris word salad. That is just...
This is insane, dude. To say that Kamala Harris has word salads? Are you kidding me right now?
Too much freaking burden for me to bear, for all this country to bear. You know, it's funny that she frames her work in terms like leadership and public service. She has never led, nor has she ever served the public.
Yes, she has. She was the attorney general in in California for like ever.
You don't believe me? Ask any of her supporters. Name one accomplishment Kamala Harris has, and they can't do it.
She was the tie-breaking vote, I believe, on the most Senate tie-breaking issues. She raised a ton of money in South and Central American countries to fund, to basically cut down on how many immigrants were coming over the border. That was a big accomplishment of hers. Like, what are you talking about? There have been no accomplishments. What?
And I actually think this is a mistake, Danica, for her not to run for California governor. You know why? Because I think she would have actually won. California Democrats are dumb enough to elect her again. She can't win an American election in terms of the country, the presidential election, but she could have actually won the governor's seat in California. But think about this, just bigger picture for a moment. You have two failed female Democratic candidates for president, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. They're both females, right? America didn't not elect them because they were females. It's because they were the wrong females.
Okay, or hear me out. Maybe Donald Trump has only ever won 2 women. You ever knock that one around? Anytime a man ran against Donald Trump, he lost. It's interesting.
Didn't have the right policies. They didn't have the right communication styles. They didn't have the right affability. And I personally, Danica, don't think Kamala Harris is the Democratic candidate in 2028. I think it's going to be someone like a Governor Josh Shapiro or a J.B. Pritzker or a Gavin Newsom or a Gretchen Whitmer.
I can see that. Yeah, sure. I can see Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, not Whitmer. That's not happening. She is very unpopular right now among Democrats because she's fully sided with Trump effectively. Now, what about J.B. Pritzker? Yeah, I suppose I could see that. I haven't seen any hard signals that he's running, but it's possible.
The problem overall is that Democrats have a brand problem. They don't have policies. They can't campaign on anything other than...
I'm sorry, what? Democrats have a brand problem? Not Republicans, but Democrats? Okay.
Donald Trump sucks. And they're going to have to do better than that. So I think Kamala sitting this one out is actually a bad move because America won't elect her. They're never going to elect her, but California actually would have.
Yeah, you know what? I think you raise a very good point, and I just hope, for goodness sake, that we are not burdened by what has been. Bo Davidson, always
Please,
lovely
God.
to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Good to see you again.
Okay, anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. That is painfully stupid, dude. The guy came against...
A negotiating tactic for Donald.
The guy played Forrest Valkai. I hate to tell you, Forrest Valkai is significantly more attractive. I mean, it's almost a sin for him to play Forrest Valkai in a movie. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. Absurd. Absolutely absurd, dude. Okay, let me see if I can find Candace Taylor. I looked for... Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I wasn't even paying attention. Her show is called Jesus, Guns, and Babies. Apparently. Let me look for that. Hold on. I was really hoping to find her actual show, but I can't for some reason. All right, well, I guess I'm going to get out of here. I have some things I have to take care of, but tomorrow I'll have more stuff to talk about, all right? Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been